Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 14, part 2 of Ken's Counseling Couch. I am your host, Ken Jennings. Today is the continuation of the Sophie Long document analysis stream. We started yesterday by briefly summarizing the updates in the case. We discussed the changes that have happened kind of over the course of time. We also had a sudden influx of outside visitors from different parts of the internet, and we spent a good chunk of the rest of the stream engaged with them, trying to communicate with them. And so hopefully some of those people might be back. Hopefully they're here for discussion and would like to continue. I was not able to get the person on stream today who was asking to come on. They were not able to get back in touch with me. And a couple other people I talked to privately wished to remain anonymous and did not wish to have their names outed basically on this topic. So there's that as far as that goes. Now, let's see here. I'm just double checking the things I have open. So my goal for today is to continue where we left off. I went through and double checked the redaction on the one document to make sure. Let me make sure this is the right one. Here we go. Just to make sure I haven't missed anything on it. I'm going to do that real quick, just one more time, because another night of no sleep, because that's just how my days work anymore. And we'll go ahead and start getting through some of these documents. So there will be parts where, in order to save time and effort redacting, I just went ahead and block redacted all three of the kids' names or all three of the kids' birthdays just to save time. Also, I block redacted telephone numbers and specific addresses for attorneys, just and email addresses. I don't want anyone getting any hate mail or anything like that. Not that I'm responsible for anything like this. Also, let me set the rules at the outset here. We will not threaten anybody in chat, whether it's myself or another person. So no specific targeted threats. I don't care if you make fun of me. You can tell me I'm an idiot, tell me I have no idea what I'm talking about. That's fine. Threats are no bueno. Anything that would violate YouTube's terms of service is potential timeout. Likely you'll be timed out versus banned. If anything, if you get banned, it's because you fucked up really bad. So this is where we're going to pick off from. So if you read the thumbnail for today's show, we are on part 2, cease and desist boogaloo, because I received a friendly letter from the attorney for Miss Kelly Long yesterday after the stream. I think it actually was sent before the stream ended. I have to double check because I don't remember if, where'd it go here? I'm trying to, here we go. Yes. So the named attorney for Kelly Long, Laura Elkins from Elkin Law, did send me an email and sent me a cease and desist. The irony is she sent me a cease and desist for a document I didn't have necessarily. The funny thing is I don't know, maybe I have it now. There's some irony in that statement, I think. I don't know. Also, I did, let's see, I did wrench Stegus, and Twisted and Colonel should all have wrenches. Let me double check that too. These are my wrenches. These are my frequent flyers. So they're trustworthy people. Stegus jumped in before I had a chance to wrench him. That's why he wasn't popping up blue yet. I think he ran out to get breakfast. So real quick, we're gonna go over this cease and desist letter because why not? So let me take a second because I've been trying to play catch up today because I've had to reach out to a lawyer I'm familiar with to request his input on this because if for some reason I do have that document and I'm pretty much 99% confident I'm protected under the First Amendment as far as reviewing that document because one, I have no idea who sent me that document. If that document does exist in my inbox or on Mega Upload or Dropbox or wherever that document may reside at this point in time, uh, because someone wants that document to be out there. I have no idea who they are. As I stated yesterday, I have no idea who any of these people are. Um, that's the funny part of this. So, also, as I stated earlier, no one's getting blocked today unless you are doing anything that would be a threat to harm someone else or yourself. Say, I have not seen anyone blocked or timed out yet in chat, and I am keeping a separate chat window opened up that lets me pay attention to that better than the integrated StreamYard one. But we will review this. So let me do a snipping of this real quick. And then I need to redact it real quick because I just find it funny that I think because I don't think my stream ended because I think my stream went for quite a while yesterday. And I think my wife was home uh, before I was actually off the air. And if that's the case, this letter was sent before the stream ended. So this letter was sent during the stream, which, okay, whatever. I mean, I don't care either way. Like, and to, and because I have nothing against nothing against the lawyer. She's doing her job. I get that whole thing. But I'm still going to be nice and I'm going to censor her contact information. It's obviously not hard to find. People aren't stupid. But so people don't accuse me of trying to dox and all that fun stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and scratch out some of this stuff here. It's going to look like shit because I'm not. Actually, let me do this like a semi-professional here. And let me erase that and save as. Okay. All right. Oops. Let's try that again. Okay. Like I said, it's been a hectic morning, so I haven't necessarily had the chance to do this uh, before today. So I apologize. I apologize for that. But we're gonna go over this cease and desist real quick. Um, also, Squishy, here's the thing. I understand you were here yesterday, and I appreciate you one showing up, two engaging, and the same thing. You have the ability to bitch and hate and moan at me. That's fine. I get you don't like what I'm doing, but this is no abuse of anyone's privacy, and this is not abuse of a child. If you're calling this abuse of a child, that's disgusting to me, because the actual abuse to a child is one, the fact that a child had to go through this situation in general, and the fact that, you know, whether or not the allegations happened, she still is experiencing enough trauma to be traumatized by whatever the hell's going on. Two, the parents are at fault for this because they can't act like adults and deal with this shit like adults. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how much you hate your former partner, you're the mother and father of that child. Grow up and get along for 5 fucking minutes to learn to be a parent. That's what that is, right? You know, I don't care about anything else. If you think this is as abusive as shit that's happened, then there's something seriously wrong with you, in my personal opinion. This is nothing that a CNN or MSNBC or Fox wouldn't do if they were doing more than 5-minute segments nowadays. They would go through and analyze what's going on and talk about the case. People do that. It's called journalism. It's called news. I have a right in this country to do so. Nothing I have done, none of the information I have has been obtained through illicit means. I am acting in a journalistic capacity. You don't have to like that, I understand. But if you support the freedoms of this country, you have to respect it. So, and as far as people, so cool, Stephanie. So let me correct what I'm saying there just to clear the record. Every document that was filed in the case prior to, as of yesterday, before the end of the stream, every document I had was obtained by myself, as far as legal documents, by myself through the court, through the clerk of courts of Collin County, by sending them a letter requesting it, having them send it back, that whole process, spending however many fucking cents per page it was. And that, after yesterday's stream, as I put out my information and as I discussed with people yesterday, if you have more information and you'd like to share information, feel free to send it to me. I would like to know more about what's going on. People have sent me different things. I have gotten documents. I have yet to completely go through all those documents. The irony is it wouldn't surprise me if the document that the lawyer is pissed off about is in that list. All because we couldn't, one, whoever contacted Kelly's attorney, if she was on here watching, okay, cool. Thank you for watching. What was your name? Miss Elkin. Thank you for watching. If it wasn't Kelly's attorney watching, then someone provided Kelly's attorney the incorrect information. Because I have never said I had that information. As of yesterday, I didn't have that information. As of today, I still haven't confirmed I have that information. I have to go through and double check that I have the things that are potentially out there, right? Right now, I am trying to finish converting this to a PDF so that I can properly redact it. Where the hell did it go? File, save as. Okay. But like I was saying, all the documents I have as of yesterday of 18 July were obtained by me. People have sent me stuff. If anything's new that I don't have, that's up to them to send it to me. I have no control over them sending it to me. Like I said, I'm reporting on this. I have no control over what people do, nor would I want to. As a therapist, my entire job is about free will and choice. So I wouldn't want to censor anybody. That's not the way I roll. Nor would I want to control people's opinions and insights, right? Also, give me 1 second here. Okay, sorry for the delay. So let me pull this document up and let me try and redact it. So we can go through the fun letter I got yesterday. Because apparently just talking about this issue is enough to cause an uproar on the internet. And again, I'm not taking this lightly. I don't think people get that. As having been in the field I'm in, having worked with people who've been abused, who've been neglected, who've been assaulted, it's not something I take too kindly. It's not something I think is, something that should just be ignored. But we also have a situation where this is clearly the case has stretched on for so long, and you have, what is it? You have people who, whether they intend to or not, are forgetting that the best interest of their child are not necessarily them. And that applies to all parents and parental figures and adults involved in this. It's possible to be a bad fit as a parent and not know what you're doing, right? That happens all the time. But the irony is there's actually classes for that stuff. You know, there are ways to get help with that if you don't know how to be a parent. But usually what happens with this is people are so, in these types of cases, people are so adamant about getting back at exes or former spouses or soon to be former spouses that shit just hits the fan so quickly and turns into a clusterfuck so fast that it's just not okay. And nor should it be. And that's part of the problem. If you're leaving your kids behind to deal with this because you think it matters more to, you know, own up, one up your former ex, right? Then cool, you do you, but that's not how I would deal with things, right? So I think I finally properly redacted this so no one can yell at me for not redacting it. So let's do this. So let me close that. I hate how this looks. So here's the document. Let me pull this up on the stream. So share, window, letter. It's the redacted version. Okay, so share. Say, I'm opening my panel. I mentioned yesterday to, what was it, Lisa, if she wanted to come on, all she had to do is drop me an email and I would send her a link. Uh, I'm not necessarily bringing on random people. I had enough people in chat yesterday agree with me that she was a trustworthy person. She was a friend of Kelly's or a friend of the person or was knowledgeable enough of what was going on and that she was legit. I'm not going to have people come on here and just take over the show and scream nonsense. Right. So Cool Stephanie says that you probably have the right to do this legally, but legal versus ethical, moral are two different things. The thing is yeah, you're right in a way, but is it ethical to suppress the potential? So I have this discussion on the topic a few streams ago with some people I stream with on different occasions on, for example, ways to treat pedophilia and ways to treat and prevent future sex offending. Is, do we stop potential treatments just because we're uncomfortable with the idea of them? Which we are doing right now, and more people, more little girls, more little boys are getting molested and assaulted because we're uncomfortable with the idea of treating things a different way. Treatments that have been shown to be effective, right? We're not doing them because we're uncomfortable with the idea. That's not, as it relates to this, for example, yes, it's uncomfortable to talk about these things. Yeah, you can consider it potentially legally correct, but you can flirt the moral ethical line. But is it ethical to continue to perpetrate what is effectively future abuses on families, future abuses on children by letting systems like this that are in place continue to run corruptly, by letting parents see just what the damage gets done to kids who go through shit like this? Maybe a parent goes, well, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Or maybe this brings light to the fact that there are problems. You don't have to, you don't have to agree with what I'm doing, but I will argue with you that what I'm doing isn't necessarily unethical. I would agree it's both moral and ethical and legal to do what I'm doing. Ask your bartender, shouldn't we be focusing on the fact that Sophie's missing? Yes, Sophie's missing. I mentioned this yesterday. I shared the DPS notification, the Texas Department of Public Safety notification, what to look out for, where potentially Michael is headed with Sophie. That is to the extent I can do that. No Amber Alert was issued, obviously. But as far as that goes, I shared that. I want Sophie's safe return. But what's important is we do have the ability to multitask. We don't have to focus our entire energy on just looking for Sophie in the meantime. I can't just go out, drive around where I live. Whether I live near where Sophie lives or not is up for debate. But I don't have to live near where Sophie lives to be of help. I'm being of help through doing this. I'm making more people aware of what's going on, which in turn makes more people aware that Sophie's missing, which also makes more people alert of what's going on. So, let's see here. I'm trying to make sure I catch up. Also, I know that there's someone in chat that is also Squishy. Please do not harass another user in the chat room. You can come at me all damn day. I do not care. Every person who's here is a guest of mine, just like I would invite them as a guest into my household. You can debate with them. You can go back and forth with them. Don't harass. Don't push people. Don't insult people beyond, what I would expect in a general level of, maybe discourse that's a bit heated, right? But we're not going to go after people. I don't know Alyssa or Elisa's, whatever her proper pronunciation of her name is. I don't know her connection to Michael. I don't know at all. And it doesn't matter for me today. But we're not going to harass them, just like I wouldn't allow them to harass you, Squishy. My mods know to not allow harassment and threats. That's it. You can come at me. You can target it towards me, but don't be going at her. I can't force her to do anything either way. Even if I think it says people are saying that that's potentially the boyfriend. I don't know if that is the boyfriend or not. Then if that's, her boyfriend or not is Michael, I have no idea. As I stated yesterday and as I still state today, I have no idea who any of these people are outside of the fact that I've seen their names online and I've seen a couple of them appear in videos as far as like Michael goes and Sophie goes as far as the interviews last year. That's it. I've never met them. I've never talked to them in person. Right? The amount of communication I have is the extent of what I'm having in chat today. Whether those people are anywhere close to the people that are involved in this case. But we're going to not do that. I don't need people to be berating them. And even if she is, and I'll even give this to you. You cannot, even if she is the boy, his girlfriend, even if she knows the whereabouts of Michael and Sophie, it's not my job to figure that out. One, I don't care to investigate and interrogate someone through YouTube in my chat. Two, the last thing that needs to happen is to do that because that could make shit way worse in the long run. Three, we're here to discuss this topic in general. We're here to discuss the documents that have come out on this topic, and we're here to discuss the cease and desist I got from Kelly, or specifically Kelly's lawyer, right? So let me bring this up real quick. Again, the instructions to my Discord, not my Discord, my YouTube moderators are to time people out. If you get timed out, you will be timed out for 5 minutes. You can speak again. If you need to have something said that bad, if you need to communicate something and you're getting to the point of harassing, you really need to take a step back. That's too far. This level of harassment and attack is too far. I'm not here. And even if anyone in this chat is protecting the whereabouts of Sophie, one, I really hope you're not, because regardless of whether or not we agree with the court system, a court order has been issued and that there is ongoings with what's going on. Excuse me, how does one prove someone they are someone's attorney? One, because they're listed as a previous attorney of record for Kelly, and two, the email is coming from their law firm, and it is, god damn it, what did I do? Uh-oh. And why did my stupid chat go away? Hold on one second. Where the hell did it go? I think my chat's missing. Hold on. Or my window's missing. Hold up. This is weird. Oh, I see what happened. Never mind. I think I figured it out. Um, where the hell? I can't seem to find my Chrome window with the stream just disappeared. So give me 1 second while I try and fix this stupid damn thing. Hey, this is really weird. I don't know why it closed like this on me, but I'm trying to fix it. Uh, okay, so let's try this. Okay, can you guys hear me? How about now? I think it's working. Actually, I think I need to close my Chrome. Give me a minute. Okay, I think I'm back now. Okay, that looks like it's working correctly. Perfect. Sorry for the delay. My YouTube window glitched out somehow. So either way, back to where I was, is the document I received. I'm sorry, not document, the email I received. God, there's so many words today. Jesus. So it was from the attorney that appears to be on record for Miss Long, and it comes from an email that goes to that person's website. It looks like a legitimate website. Doesn't look like it's something that's been thrown up overnight. Doesn't look like it's being spoofed. So, plus, they're also stating that they're the representative of Miss Kelly Long. So, I mean, if you want people's photo ID to verify that they're the attorney of record, go for it. I don't think you're going to get it today, though, unfortunately. So, but we will start with today, this, and let's zoom in a little bit more. I think I can do a little bit more. That's good enough. Okay. All right. So here we go. This is the email I received from. Oh, wrong document. How did that happen? So stop the screen share. Good thing that was the right wrong document, not the wrong document. Okay. So today's letter is for titled Cease and Desist Petition for Writ of Mandamus, Michael Long and Kelly Long. From Laura Elkind of Laura Redacted at elkind-law.com. To me being Ken Jennings. Sent at 5:04. Oh, wrong button too. Sent at 17:04 on 18 July 2021. About 18 hours ago when I took this screenshot. So the email starts off, Dear Ken Jennings, I represent Kelly Long. I understand that you are in possession of a petition for writ of mandamus filed recently by Michael Long in the custody dispute with his ex-wife, Kelly. This petition is not part of the public record and is subject to a court sealing order. Furthermore, any hearing transcripts, testimony, and exhibits included in this petition were not and are not open or accessible to the public. You should not have this petition, which contains highly sensitive, personal information about a private custody dispute involving 3 minor children. The disclosure of any information contained in this petition would be an invasion of privacy. If you want to avoid, and this is in bold, right? If you want to avoid any legal exposure, you should delete the petition in its entirety, including all attachments and exhibits from all devices, and refrain from sharing or disclosing in any manner all or any part of the petition, including all attachments and exhibits and any information contained therein. Thank you, Laura Elkind. Thanks again, apparently. Laura Elkind Law, PLLC, address, Fort Worth, Texas, and then the area code for each of the office numbers that are there. And then Laura's redacted at elkinlaw.com, and then Elkind Law as well. Summers says, I'm going to be honest, your credentials don't make you qualified to give your professional opinion on this case. You're right. I am not here to give a legal opinion. I never said I was. I'm here to give the opinion from the perspective of a therapist and a counselor. That's all I've ever done. Ask anyone who's watched me from episode 1, who's watched me before I even started my own YouTube channel. The only reason I started my own YouTube channel was because people asked me to do it. I ended up liking it, so I kept doing it. So, but still, at the end of the day, I'm not doing this to make money. Wouldn't be a bad thing to happen, but I'm not here with the sole purpose in mind to do that. Today's episode specifically, I'm here, and just like yesterday's, I'm here to talk about this case and to talk about the severe craziness that's going on with this case, because it's not okay. And as I've stated before, and I'm going to apparently have to put this disclaimer in the description of all my videos moving forward because people don't listen, is I have never once stated I am the therapist of anybody I give my opinion about, nor do I know them. I speak only pertaining to public figures unless someone is willing for me to have a discussion with them, right? So as of this point in time, Kelly Long, Michael Long, Sophie Long, the family has become, for all intents and purposes, under constitutional law, a limited purpose public figure. They are a subject of political interest, of newsworthiness, and they have engaged in their own discussion as far as the parents go. And it's not something that, and that usually is applied for defamation law. But in general, I speak only towards those figures in particular for reasons. And again, I'm not here saying, well, it's clear that Michael has this or Kelly has that. No. I point out things I see. I give, I get hints or indications from what I'm seeing, just like I would if I was with a client. No different, based on behavior, statements, things like that. That doesn't mean I'm here to give any sort of legal opinion. Never once said that. I'm sorry if that's the impression you got. And I do apologize if you did get that impression. That was not the impression I'm giving off. So, as of right now, let's see. Just double checking this other document for any redactions before we go through it. I think I got everything. See, and I'm doing due diligence. You guys were not happy with me yesterday as far as redactions go, so I'm double checking again, trying to give my trying to be as genuine as I can with this. I want to have a discussion that really gets at the heart of what this issue is. So hopefully we can get there. So let's pick up where we left off yesterday. So we had basically gotten into, if we go back to the timeline, so let's go back to the timeline real quick so we can catch everybody up who's new. So Sean Tala asked, Ken, did you get a cease and desist? Is it proven to be true, or is it someone acting out of character? The email address leads back to the law offices for Elkin Law, which, based on the information I have, is that is the attorney of record for Miss Kelly Long. So some people are saying in chat that that's not necessarily the case, that she's not the attorney of record. So, oh, come on, is my connection unstable? And I don't know what someone in chat is saying my true colors showing through. I don't understand what you mean by that. But let's see. But to, again, Sean Tala, as you were asking, that does appear to be a valid email from Miss Kelly Long's attorney, or Mrs. Kelly Long's attorney. Um, let's see here. 1 second. Sorry, I was just responding to someone had sent me a private message. So let me. All right. As I was saying, let's go ahead and review the timeline. So Summer, one of the things is I understand that, and that's why that's why I lead at the very beginning, and I always touch on it multiple times throughout my discussions. I'm not any person's therapist. I'm giving my opinion that just so happens to be informed by my education, experience, and background. If you want to, if there's someone who's got a better understanding or something of the case or the situation or the people involved, great. But they're going to have better answers than I will. So, and hopefully, hopefully I don't want people to, and I don't want anyone to walk away from this today thinking that I'm the sole authority on this. No. I'm glad that Michael got a psych evaluation. I'm glad that I think Kelly was ordered to have one too. I don't know. That was my understanding as it was relating to the case before the order to have Sophie given up to the aunt and grandmother for custody. They had to have a psychological evaluation done. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The issue is sometimes those evaluations can be biased. It doesn't hurt to have second and third opinions. You should never trust one person. Say, so I keep seeing in chat apparently Squishy Cat is wanting to get on. Squishy Cat, how one, I have no email from you if you sent me one. And two, I don't know your relation to this at all. I have no way. I had multiple people support Lisa yesterday for coming on, and Lisa was wanting to come on and wasn't necessarily pressuring to come on. That speaks to me different than someone who's pushing to come on. I've seen, and I'm sure some of my mods know this from other streams. We all watched together what happens when you do that. So I'm going to ask my mods this because I haven't been able to pay attention to chat. Mods, of all the people engaged in chat right now, who has been the most respectfully engaged and who appears to be the most sincere in their engagement with the discussion today? Because I want that person on my stream if they're going to jump on. And you come on knowing that at any point I will kick you off if you decide to take it too far. Right? That's the thing. I'm not going to have someone come on here and try and tank my show. Whether you like the show I'm doing or not today, there is a purpose from doing this. There is a benefit to doing this and going over these documents. It looks like I'm getting, and from my read so far is I think, and people please correct me if I'm wrong, Summer has been the most respectful so far. I understand Summer has also disagreed with me. But I'm fine with disagreement. I'm fine with discourse. I'm not going to have someone come on here and fling shit all day. I have no problem having people come on here. In fact, I invite people coming on here. So, how about this? What's today? Today's what? Monday. I think. Trying to figure out what my schedule looks like for the rest of the week. Because I'd love to continue this conversation, but I would rather have the opportunity to speak. Okay, I think Alyssa actually mentions the open the panel at the end. Okay, how about that? I think we can all agree on that. So her, I'll put a poll up real quick. When to bring on others. Now at the end of the show. And because the third option doesn't hurt either, because it's also potentially an option. I'm going to ask that. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to stick to it, but I am going to put it out there. See, so Squishy, right here, you're right now giving me an exact reason why I shouldn't bring you on. I have no idea what you mean by this statement, because this is where it's funny. Is I get there are other people who may be involved and might be close to Michael and who another party's involved in this who are in the know and might be getting shit underneath the table. But I don't know anybody, so I don't know who I'm protecting. That immediately, not only from a personal but also from a professional standpoint, that sticks out to me as suspect. Like, and I don't want to have this turn into a shit show. That's the point. I'm willing to engage with you guys. I'm happy to engage with the chat, but I'm not gonna have someone come on here and pretend that this is their thing. Because I will have no problem booting you out within 10 seconds of you being on. So let's. So here we go. So Summer says Squishy just cares immensely about Sophie's safety. So do I. I care as much as any of the people here. Why? Because whether or not people here believe Sophie's allegations, I've had to actually hear people, and I'm talking children, tell the gory details of their sexual abuse. Right? I've had to deal with that. I've had to deal with having, as I mentioned yesterday, I had a 12-year-old kid on the very first session I ever had with them open up to me, tell me their mom's physically abusing them, but yet was still worried about what would happen to mom and what would happen to their siblings and all this other shit, and was willing to put up with that shit until they got to me because they trusted me enough, apparently, which I don't know how, but they were comfortable enough to open up to me, which I was thankful for, even though the system fucked them over in the end because they didn't pull him from the home when he probably should have been. I care just as much as anyone here, if probably not more, because this is what I do for a daily living, is listen to the horror stories of people, of children, of one of my clients, the preteen, who gets taken advantage of by people online and sends pictures unknowingly because they're in desperate need for a friend because of COVID. Shit like that. Watching that person suffer with guilt. Yeah, the last person on this planet you're going to find cares more. I care more than probably most of the people on this planet do. I take this shit to heart because I have to deal with it. I live it. It's literally my job. I get upset and frustrated about it. I listened to the video of Sophie telling her allegations, and whether you agree with Sophie's allegations or not, as a therapist, as someone who does this, and as someone who listens to this and understands child development, understands the cognitive functionings of the brain and how children learn language and all of that shit, there's too many pieces there to just say, well, it's likely she was brainwashed to me. As far as that goes, you got to be goddamn Houdini to pull that off, to teach a child to brainwash them in that specific of a context and not have fall over elsewhere, right? That's difficult. I couldn't even do it, and I know how to do it because every kid's different. And you could try with one kid and get the same results, or you can get another kid, you might get somewhere. Another kid might be able to do it because of their developmental level. It's all different. And because kids age, they grow into different parts of functioning and understanding and development. It's hard. But as a therapist, you have to listen to that video and watch that video. It's not just because a kid's crying that I'm like, oh, poor kid, she must have been abused. No, there's way too many tells. There's way too many signs. There's too much that sticks out. So when I sit there and watch that video, in my head, everything I've ever heard replays in my mind. Every awful thing I've ever had to deal with as a therapist, in my former life as in the emergency medical services, and as a firefighter, all that shit comes back all at once. All the trauma and all the horrors, all of that pain and suffering, it's all eating at me in every moment of that video. Because I see a kid in that moment who's asking for help and can't get it. And how am I, whenever not only does the information there tell me that this is likely leading to be truthful, there's also the fact that false allegations of sexual abuse from kids are very low, like low. Like research has been done on it. So, not meaning to go off topic. So Twisted said, I think it was contained in the court docs counting on that CD. So the documents I have prior to, yeah, we went over the 19-minute video. I did a whole stream on it. It's a few episodes ago. I think it was like, what episode was that actually? I think it was episode, where the hell is it? It was episode 9, analyzing the Sophie Long video part 2. And then episode 8 was was a rage stream on suicide shaming, child abuse, bragging, and Sophie Long video. So the Sophie video analysis was done near the end of episode 8 and throughout episode 9. And it was the 19-minute video. It wasn't any clips. It was the whole damn thing. And I get that there was cuts in the video, Gabby. Even so, there's still enough length in duration of that video that gives away things. If a kid, if I had enough information and those statements were made in front of me, and a client came to my office like that, I would be probably having to make a phone call. The phone calls I don't like to make to like CPS, DCF, whatever your state or whatever agency is, because there's a lot of allegations there. There's wording and phrasing that's so specific that comes from a 9-year-old, that doesn't come from an adult. And parents suck at trying to bribe their children into making false allegations. That's why they normally get caught. So, Cool Stephanie asks, this is a professional question. Would the example you gave about the preteens secretly sending explicit pics online be a mandated report or no? So that's a good question. That's where the level of detail that I have from my client is enough to where I don't know if they were necessarily explicit in the sense that they would be illegal images, but they were images that the client wasn't happy that were sent. And those could be just images because she's not comfortable with her body, because she's a preteen / teenager now, and all that. And that's where I actually have issues with mandated reporting laws to a certain degree, because it does remove discretion from the therapist. And I had this discussion a couple of streams ago with someone else about whether or not therapists should have discretion on mandated reporting, because there could be a minor accusation that could tear apart a family that is fake. And in my capacity with the information I know from working with the client, I could be on point, because if I fail to report, I risk, legal liability, basically. That's usually how most states work with it. So Um, so Summer, reach out to me through my email. I'm gonna go ahead and put my ticker up. Um, so here's my ticker. If you want to send me an email, you can send me an email. So it's kenjenningskf@gmail.com. I will try and reach back out to you during the show. Oh my God, my inbox is blown up. So I'm getting great emails already from everybody. So apparently people know who I am and are threatening to dox me already from all this. So that's fun. Uh, so I pop up to check my email, and apparently at least one of the people on this chat knows where I work allegedly and is threatening to dox me. Squishy, I'm still working my way through my emails. I have quite a few here. Um, okay, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Okay, so hmm. So here's the thing, guys. If you think you know where I work, you're probably wrong. The best people on the internet at doxing haven't doxed me yet. One, because I've gotten into their good favor for the most part. Two, because I've hidden myself behind multiple layers for this exact fucking reason. Because the very first time I talked about something on the internet controversial, the very first thing the person said was, "Oh, verify your license. Where do you work at? What's your name? What's your? How do we know that you're actually who you say you are?" And it's not like I haven't seen this play out before. I'm dumb. I'm not stupid, right? I make poor choices. I'm sure everybody does. I'm pretty fucking stupid. See, Twisted has it right. I'm that guy from Jeopardy, apparently. That explains the really cool background whenever I go like, apparently I'm from Jeopardy. So, uh, Ali says, what is this? I am discussing some of the Sophie Long documents from the case. Uh, we have been sidetracking for a bit, trying to clear up some ongoing issues, just to make sure everything was properly addressed as it relates to certain things. But we're back to the goal of trying to pick up where we did leave off on actually going through and looking at this petition to modify that was filed in um, July 28th of 2020 that kicked off a lot of this drama because of the things that followed from it. Irrelevant, but Ken's voice is super calming. Thank you, Pearl Clutcher. Um, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna continue on for now. If I can tell, and I'm leaving it up to my chat mods to keep an eye on the chat for me because I cannot follow it as best as I can. There's just too much shit going on in chat right now for me to follow it properly. But if my chat is able to determine that if you guys are acting, if there's no major concerns from chat as far as um, what's been going on, and if we can stop, I'll tell you what, I'll do. I hate to do this because it sounds fucking demeaning. if we don't push the issue of getting on the stream for the next bit, then I will consider bringing you on the stream. And I mean, genuinely consider bringing you on the stream, like not fucking with you. But I don't want my chat spammed with it, especially in the middle of trying to have this discussion. My goal is to go through these documents in this timeline today, at least parts of it. It is important that I do go through these, right? I understand that we have issues with it. So, oh, okay, I guess I need to do that too. Also, someone wanted to know yesterday how whether or not I was actually lying about uh, whether or not the documents I obtained were from one of the parties of the case, or whether or not I obtained them through the clerk of courts. I will prove that to you in about 10 seconds because I managed to find my lovely link to where I keep the documents themselves. Oh, come on, stupid link. Here we go. Most important part to this is let me get a screenshot of this so I can do this properly. Okay, so snip. Because I don't want to release, because in an effort to organize all these documents, because there's a fuckload of them, I don't want to accidentally release the wrong things. And I'm trying to juggle things between two monitors, multiple windows, and multiple virtual desktops in an effort to have these conversations with you guys today. And I am literally, and I have no problem doing it, I am taking the time to engage with you guys in chat. I don't have to. I'm doing it because I feel like it's important to do just as much as I would anything else. So, okay, there we go. So, the way I know that the document, so the way you can tell that the documents I obtained were from the court itself, and I'm going to show this on my window real quick, is and through the snipping tool. Okay. So here we go. So this is the snipping tool of, I took a snipping of the documents I have. The originals, because I did rename some of them to help organize them, because I actually renamed and sorted everything by date filed, by time filed, in an effort to help build the timeline and to help organize things. So the documents that come from the courthouse from Collin County, so they have their title, they have the date of the request apparently, or the date of the either day of request or the date that the clerk of courts got the records together. Looks like the time that the document was moved, a different number here, which I haven't yet figured out. And then the real important piece is right here is that's the hash number. So that's like a file hash. So that file hash is unique to any file on their system. I think it's an SHA-1 or SHA-512 hash. I don't know. I think it's SHA-1. I don't remember how many lengths the bits are on that one. But either way, is if someone sent me this, I don't know if they would have kept the name. And I have the CD somewhere of it, and I'm sure I have somewhere my original emails from reaching out to Collin County. But that's a whole nother day of things, right? So Sean Tullis said we saw your name on the request list and thought you were a reporter back then. Yeah, I got that. Plus, it was kind of funny to see my name on that list because I knew people were like going hardcore after. You know, they were going after people who were getting the documents, or they were trying to keep record of it. Excuse me, Al says, I'm glad you took your OnlyFans link off the running banner. So, as I mentioned yesterday, and I'm going to clarify, and uh, let me do this. So I'm going to post this real quick just to put it on the screen. So the OnlyFans page is a gag. It's a joke. People who follow me or know me know that is a running joke. Uh, Before I had the ability to get monetization for and I didn't actually have it set up till like a week ago. And as of right now, there's literally nothing on it. It's literally just like the Jeopardy background to like an open Jeopardy, uh, like the Jeopardy set background is the header bar and like my profile picture, and there's nothing else on it. But I did take it off for today, obviously, because we're talking about this. But for people who were upset about yesterday, it is literally a joke. I don't actually have an OnlyFans. I don't post nudes online unless uh yeah, I don't post nudes online because that's not my thing. That's what Tumblr's for. But Tumblr got rid of nudes. See, that's a joke. See. But that is literally a joke. It's not real. It's not real. I wasn't advertising my OnlyFans off the name of Sophie. It was left on my ticker because of my previous show or whatever, and I just hadn't had a chance to take it off. So, just clarifying that. So, yes, I understand why it wasn't a good look, and I understand why people came in pretty upset. I get it. I'm fine with that. I get that. I get it looked really bad. It did. But it was a joke. People who follow me and people who listen to me regularly, I live off of dark humor and sarcasm because it's how I have to get through my days some days. Again, therapist, dark shit, bad shit. So, Summer, I don't think, and I know Twisted is kind of standing up for me a bit, but I'm not necessarily here to side with anybody. I'm not siding with Michael if that's what that's what this is. I can still side with Sophie's supporting her allegation and not be on Michael's side. Like that doesn't have to be a binary on this. Like there is a spectrum of stances with this case. Yeah, see, Colonel Cran's exactly like this show usually has fewer than 10 viewers. Thanks for reminding me of the old days, Colonel. Uh, but yes, so I have had an influx of new viewers, which thank you guys for coming. I do appreciate it. I understand it's a hot topic, not the store. But at the end of the day, I don't, I honestly don't give a shit about either parent in this case because there have been ways to handle this case. Sorry, one of my dogs is moving stuff around. There have been ways to handle this case that were not done properly, to put it the way. And so this never had to get to the way it did. No custody case does, right? That's the point. No case ever needs to get to this level. And the fact that it does is disgusting, in my opinion. And that's the problem. So let's go ahead and pick up. I have one more chat I wanted to highlight. Uh, Summer said, I think that's how it's felt. Most people say you have to support Michael to support Sophie. No, you can support Sophie without supporting either parent or any of the other parties involved. You can support Sophie and say, fuck mom, fuck dad, fuck everyone else, right? Pardon my language. If you haven't realized, I curse a lot. Thank you, bad habits from firefighters/military. So that all comes into play. So, and I get that prior to, today, prior to me talking about this to the extent that I've gotten the publicity in the last 2 days, that people have been threatened and fucked over and doxxed or whatever. I'm not okay with any of that. I can't control what you people do. So Riff Randall, mods shouldn't be blocking people. If you're going after anyone in chat, you'll be timed out. The only people who are getting banned are people who are making threats of harm to self or others, or severely breaking YouTube's terms of service. I don't care if you harass me. I don't. I truly don't. Because hold on. I'm a therapist at this point. I get people say bad shit about me all the time. That's my job. I literally tell my clients, if you need to yell at me and talk shit about me, it's okay. 2, one of the most important skills I ever learned in my life was in middle school, when I learned how to not let people's things they say about me bother me. When I was able to turn, oh, your mom's a whore, into, I know my mom's a whore. She's at this corner of 5th and Main every day. And was able to take away the power from the bullies. I had quit caring as much about harassment. A very difficult skill to develop, but I did. That's why I don't care if people harass me or bother me or say shit to me. You can insult me all day. I'm fine with insults. Some of my best nicknames from friends are good insults because I have that relationship with my friends. Hold on. Let's see. Thank you, Stephanie, for your brother's service. Yeah, I did 4 years in. Riff Randall, who is blocked? And give me 1 second. I'm trying to respond to. So I'm trying to address the blocks issue real quick, and then we're going to jump into the timeline shit. So if they were blocked, I'm going to, whatever reason they were blocked, if there was a reason behind it, don't do it again. 2, if you do have a docs of mine or anyone else's, I'm not okay with it getting shared in this chat, period. I don't want you doing that. Not so much about me, but I don't want other people getting that shit done. This is not okay to me. So you guys give me like a minute or 2 as I try to figure out how to unblock people who have been blocked. I apologize if the mods have come off a little heavy-handed. I hadn't required mods until like literally yesterday. So this is new. So please bear with me as I do manage and kind of learn the limits of my community and my moderators. I trust my mods. They're people I trust. I'm assuming they went a little too heavy-handed. Okay, I see how to deal with it. So mods, I figure how to unblock the 2 people. I have just unhidden them from the chat. They should both be able to return to chat now with no problem. So if there are any issues, let's see. Okay, so you guys should be back in chat now. I'm sorry if you were blocked. Welcome back. Again, please only time out unless there's threats of harm or significant violations of YouTube TOS. So, but Gabby should be unblocked, and whoever else was blocked is also unblocked now. So, also, Gabby, if you're still listening, I do request when you come back and join us in the chat, please don't take it out on my mods. If you want to take it on anyone, take it on me. At the end of the day, I'm responsible for my mods. I used to be in management too. I used to manage like 30 people. I know how hard it is. So welcome back. Thank you for coming back. I'm sorry that you were blocked. But please feel free to take it out on me if you do need to let that anger out. It's okay. You're literally talking to a therapist. That's my job. You can let it out. Let it out. Tell me your feelings. One of my clients who's 10 makes that joke to me all the time. She's like, all you say is ask me about my feelings. And she says it every session. And it's the funniest shit. And she's really good at picking out when I'm going to ask that specific question too. And the irony is she'd probably make a good therapist in like a dozen years. So, as I said, also, if you haven't noticed, I have ADHD, so I sidetrack a bit, as we've sort of noticed in the last hour 17. Not that that's happened much. So, here's also, let's do this, 1 hour, 18. Okay. I'm also trying to start keeping my own timestamps to put into my descriptions so I can make it easier for people who watch my videos, because I usually do long discussions. Also, give me 1 second, I have to mute real quick. Okay, I'm back. So here's the thing is, if you think you have my docs, you probably don't. I promise you, I've gone to lengths unimaginable to hide myself. There are very few people who know the state I'm in. There are very few people who know really the locality I'm in. There's one person on the entire internet of people who interact with me who know if Ken is actually my real name and where I live. And that one person legally cannot say. There you go. If you're up for the challenge. But we're resuming our original discussion for this live. So let's get back to this discussion. So let's review the timeline. So this will take 2 seconds. So back on the timeline, we were here on this. So we were discussing this yesterday. We had gone through these real quick, the orders here. We didn't go through the final divorce decree because it's stupid long and it's from 2015. And then we started going through the petition to modify the parent-child relationship. This was the document that kicked off a lot of the interest in the case because a lot of things followed that. So we're going to go from that to back to, so I just wanted to show that real quick so everyone knew where we were. And then we were picking up on, let me make sure I have applied all the redactions and, okay, so close that. All right, so we're back to this. So window, okay, that's the right one. All right, so this window's up and we're back. Okay. And so comment so I can get my highlighter out because the highlighter is the best part of this. Oh. And thankfully that showed up the right thing this time. We fixed that last time. So here we go. All right. So parties affected following in the suit. So this was a document filed by the petitioner Michael Long, father to Sophie and the other 2 siblings. The other parties affected in this suit would be Kelly Long, the mother. Process would be served at her address, which is redacted here. Insurance information, blah, blah, blah. Children's property, no changes to the property since the order. No protective order has been, or order, anything like that. So there's nothing in place. So 9, modification of conservatorship, possession and access. So this is where we get into the good stuff. So where to go? Okay. The order to be modified is based on a mediated settlement agreement. the circumstances of the children, a conservator, or other party affected by the order to be modified have materially and substantially changed. So this language here is kind of interesting. That's what I would expect to see for a legal document anyway. Changed since the day of the signing of the mediated settlement agreement on which the order to be modified is based. The order to be modified is based on a mediated settlement agreement. This suit to modify the designation of the person having the exclusive right to designate the primary residence of the children is filed within 1 year after the date of the signing of the mediated settlement agreement on which the order to be modified is based. See the affidavit of Courtney Chalmers attached in Exhibit A. Petitioner requests that he be appointed as the person who has the right to designate the primary residence of his children. Preceding the filing of the suit, respondent has engaged in a history or pattern of child neglect. So the dad is alleging that the mother has engaged in the history or pattern of child neglect. Petitioner requests that the court consider this conduct in appointing the petitioner as sole managing conservator. So dad wants to be the sole managing conservator, or the parties as joint managing conservators. Petitioner requests that the terms and conditions for access to or possession of the children be modified to provide as follows. Respondent should be denied access to the children until further notice to the court. So that's a big ask. Any access or possession should be supervised and or provided for the safety of the children. That's actually, I would expect that's actually not unreasonable, I think, in context of what the ask is, right? So there's a history or pattern of child neglect committed by respondent by Jacob Bellington. So for those unfamiliar, Jacob Bellington, at the time, I don't know if this is still the case. Jacob was the partner, paramour, boyfriend of the mother. So he resides in respondent's household, and Uncle Dan, Daniel Wayne Apperson, who was permitted by respondent to have unsupervised access to the children during respondent's period of possession or access to the children. Petitioner requests the court to deny respondent access to the children. Alternatively, petitioner requests that the court render a possession order that provides that the respondent's period of visitations be continuously supervised by an entity or person chosen by the court. So I also think that's somewhat of a big ask, but it makes sense with what he's alleging down further. Okay, so Gabby says Jake is the father of Sophie Long's brother. Okay, that makes sense. That helps. Let's see here. Also, I'm going to do this because I think it'll be interesting to see what y'all say. I'm going to put a poll up, and I would really appreciate what you guys think. Should. All right, so I'm putting this poll up in chat. It's a I'm almost done with the poll. Okay. Okay, so here's the question. I'm asking you guys if we should watch the video because I see there's still some discourse on the. Did it not go through? Wait. Okay. Okay. The poll's running. My bad. I thought it wasn't running. So I'll leave that running for a bit. Summer says, I've never been called a Karen before. I'm so excited. And you just can't hide it. And then, however, the rest of the song goes, because I don't remember. So the people who don't, so what I mean by that is not necessarily the context of, they don't know the context of what's going on at all. It's necessarily the context of why I, being a counselor, therapist, right, take the stance that I very much support the likeliness of Sophie's allegations being true. That's what I mean as far as reviewing the video. Because I still am very confident in my determination that Sophie's telling the truth. So I don't know if people would be, if it would be helpful for people to see that, for me to go through that, for people to understand that. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know who called you a childless cat lady yesterday. I know it wasn't me. One, that's not how I roll. Two, let's see here. Where is. So Gabby says Sophie's 10, her brain is nowhere near fully developed. That's my point. Is the way she speaks is what you would expect from an accurate or likely accurate retelling of a 10-year-old's allegations of an abuse, not from the primed or coached or brainwashed allegations of a parent to a child. The way they will tell that allegation will be different. Sometimes it's very obvious, sometimes not so much. There are ways to determine the difference. Also, I see that there's been at least one or two people. Um, so I will disagree with the police because she may have been abused, but maybe it wasn't recently enough for it to be uh, able to have forensic evidence, right? If it wasn't recent enough, there's no forensic evidence. If it's not a situation that involved necessarily, if it was, say, just digital penetration versus penetration with an object or with a penis, you're going to have different levels of uh, trauma to the regions, right? Whether it was a vaginal or anal penetration, you're going to have different levels of scarring, depending on, you know, how that type of abuse is performed. There are ways to perform abuse that don't leave marks as well. Not all abuse is necessarily penetration either. So again, it also comes down to other pieces of it as well. The police do screw up on this, as we know very well from Me Too. Whether you support that movement or not, they have allegedly screwed up quite a bit. I'm usually not. I'm usually mixed on being a fan of the cops or not. I'm not necessarily wrong with them, but I get that. But it's also possible that there's other shit at play. There are other things that have gone on as well. I understand Heidi is requesting me to stop, but as I mentioned earlier, this is one, a difficult topic. Two, there are times where this needs to be discussed, and this is necessarily the case, right? So here's the thing: is you should always have the viewpoint of maybe the police are wrong. How many times have the police arrested someone for example, possession of a drug that they actually never had because it was planted on them. It's not a bad thing to be generally cautious or suspicious of the government as a whole because of the level of power they have over your average person. I cannot fight a prosecutor. They have unlimited resources effectively. I have a limited income. It is not a bad thing for me to be suspicious of the way they act if the way they're acting and have historically acted shows that maybe they have acted in bad faith in the past. How many times have we seen it in the news where how many states' police departments or investigative units where rape kits and shit have gone untested for years because of whatever reason, and evidence gets dropped? How many times have and I've seen this one more than I can count. How many times do we see people who have been interviewed or have gone to the police and say, I've been raped, I've been assaulted, and the police interview it in a way that, one, not necessarily trauma informed, so it's not helping the victim in that moment. Two, doesn't do anything to support that person, and sometimes comes off accusatory of, well, going back to the old trope of, well, you shouldn't have worn a skirt that short, or you shouldn't have been, coming off so sexualized. Like, you get police who do that. I had a case involving my family not too long ago where my loved one and we're still having to deal with this shit. We had someone attempt a sexual type of crime against my wife. Thankfully, it never got that far. But the police that showed up that day, they were pretty dismissive. They were more mad about the fact that I was trying to keep my wife safe than about the fact that the guy was, at least the one cop was. The other cop was pretty chill. He was actually kind of helpful. But one of the cops that we mostly talked to was a dick and was very dismissive and didn't really seem to care. They didn't even look for evidence. It wasn't until days later when detectives came out, they actually found the evidence that mattered. At that point, it was too late because it had been sitting out. It hadn't been addressed, and it was moot at that point, right? But nonetheless, cops fuck up. I fuck up, right? I tell every single client that walks in my door, I will make mistakes today when I'm talking to you. I will make mistakes today in my practice. But that's okay, because everyone makes mistakes. It's how you grow from them. You should never assume someone's always 100% in the right and never is unable to make mistakes. That's a bad place to work from. If you assume that there's perfection in your perfection, you set yourself up for failure, whether in your own personal goals, in your life, or in your family's goals, or even in something like this. If you assume the police are perfect in everything they do, then that can cut both ways. That can cut against the arguments you may be making that go against, for example, say you support mom. That can go against your arguments that support Kelly, right? It's all in how it's structured. My philosophy is you should be able to make very well reasoned arguments for both sides of the debate you're on. I can make arguments that support Kelly's side of this, and I can make arguments that support Michael's side of this based on evidence and the facts and the record. Whether I agree with that or not, this is its own issue. But I can make the argument because I understand the information. I can make the argument, mom's in the wrong, dad's in the wrong. This and that shouldn't have happened. This or that was actually occurring, or this or that wasn't occurring. That's how you truly understand a topic. You've got to be willing to be uncomfortable. And that's with therapy anyway. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable the moment you walk in the door. Because everything you do in a therapy room is usually going to bring up some level of uncomfortableness and vulnerableness. You've got to be vulnerable to be allowed growth. Such as we don't, to have those kind of positions, you have a topic like this that's very controversial. It's very easy to lean to one side or the other. The hardest thing to do is ride the neutral line and be able to argue both sides of it, because it's very easy to bias yourself one way. I could make the argument, and I'm not going to today because it would take too much time, but I can strongly make the argument for both sides of this, whether it be mom, whether it be dad. I can also make an argument that's literally just Sophie and has nothing to do with mom or dad. That Sophie has dealt with an abuse and has nothing to do with mom or dad's play of this case. And that mom or dad are completely off the walls on this. But Sophie is going through something. There's also an argument there. So, also, Gabby says, can you have the Collins County documents? I have going to be reaching out to the clerk of courts for a request to get the, what was it? The I don't remember the pronunciation of it. Damn it. Where's my stupid thing? Here we go. I will be reaching out to the old county. Here we go. Como County. That's it. I will be reaching out to Como County for the records involving prior incidents. I have obtained links to case numbers. I will be reaching out and doing an open records request. I will see what I get. Don't know if I'm going to get anything at this point. We'll see. Doesn't hurt to ask. So, yep. So, yeah, it was Como. I had to pull it up. I knew I would remember it. I was going to remember it. It was going to piss me off. I found it. Thank you, though, Gabby, for helping out. Let's see. Also, I do see, and I haven't. Also, Heather asked, how do you feel about fathers' rights groups? In the sense that, like, do I feel like they're a bad thing, or do I feel like that they're a good thing? Or, I mean, there's a lot of ways to take that, because I'm not necessarily against the idea. I think that dads have had an uphill battle in different parts of the system, just like other people. We've had many different groups in the system have very fucked up uphill battles of dealing with things. I mean, look at the whole family court system. You had the tender years doctrine for years, for decades, and you've had it applied in states still up until a couple decades ago. And even the current standards, with which pretty much everyone uses, the best interest of the child standard, I've seen it get manipulated and twisted into this sick, disgusting thing that doesn't even look recognizable anymore. And it's nasty and it's sick, because it's very easy to twist that. The system has its faults, trust me. I also was a guardian ad litem for several years. I've done that. I've been part of that system. I've been part of dependency. I've done reports. I've been in an interview with children. Like, I get different parts of this process. I'm not a, and so Cool Stephanie says, what do you think of the psychologist treating Estelle that her behavior symptoms were inconsistent with victims of SA? He had 30 years experience. Is that something that came out after the records, or was that something that happened during the records up till mid-September 2020? Because if it's not in the records I have, then I wouldn't know of it. I'm open to, like I said, more info. If you got that report, or if you got something along the lines, then also, excuse me, Al says, assuming that the police aren't trauma informed is just based on anecdote. So this is where we have a bit of a hold on. Trying to find the way to phrase this so it doesn't come out sounding like an asshole. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean to you. I literally, because I know if I phrase this wrong, it'll come out bad. And I don't want that. So what I mean by this is, and I'm not trying to use an anecdote here. I'm not using a personal anecdote. There is consistent evidence to back up across the country issues with the police system as it handles and deals with rape, incest, abuse, all of it. There are failings of the system in multiple places. That doesn't mean every police department's like that and every police officer is bad. No. There are good police officers just as there are bad police officers. But because you have, if we want to argue, that kind of stance, because I saw your comment before about just assuming they're wrong. I'm not necessarily saying assuming they're wrong. I'm saying it's okay to question their determination. Just like I have I tell all my clients, you can question everything I tell you. You can push back on every damn thing I say. You can disagree with my diagnosis. You can ask for a second opinion, and I will happily support you to go get one. I'll even point you towards the experts if you want to talk to them, because I have no problem being questioned. It should not be a problem for a police to be questioned, to have them second guessed, because sometimes they do make mistakes. How many times do people spend decades in prison over mistakes from the police? Whether accidents, mistakes, like accidental mistakes, or malicious mistakes. Like, I get it. I understand it can look conspiratorial and all that shit, coming off like, oh, don't trust the police. I'm not saying that. The police serve a purpose. They're very helpful. But they also fuck up too. Also, I wasn't trying to necessarily get graphic. I just, by nature, easily will have those discussions. I have no problem having those discussions. That's why in my office of however many people, I'm like the only one that's open to taking on like cases of sexual abuse and child abuse, because I know how to have those conversations and I'm comfortable using the language with kids. I've literally had to teach sex ed to 2 kids in the last 3 weeks because of different things that have gone on, which both the kid and the parents were fine with, and everyone was happy with the outcome. But a lot of parents don't know how to have that conversation. I'm comfortable having that because, one, it's a lot safer to have that conversation sometimes in the therapy office too. I also use terminology like, I don't use replacement words. I use anatomical terms because, one, you should teach your kids anatomical terms for their body because it's helpful for multiple reasons. Most important being medical and stuff like this case alleges, right? If your kid goes, my hoo-ha hurts, to a doctor, the doctor's going to go, well, what's your hoo-ha? Because that's very inspecific. Or if your child goes, well, my labia hurts, well, that's a lot more specific. Even if it's a 6 or 7-year-old saying it or a 4 or 5-year-old saying it, it shouldn't be a bad word. People teach their kids it's bad words. From my perspective and from this perspective of like the clinical side, it's good for your kids to know that, because if they do get, say, molested, right? Don't want that. But if it does happen, they can go into court and testify and say, this man touched me on this part of my body, and this is, how I felt. Like, it's very specific. You're not trying to weave definitions in and out. That's how people do get off on those cases, is because kids don't have the right terms and because there's misunderstandings in translation. It's sad. It does happen. But as I said, and Heidi, I know my goal, I wasn't like necessarily trying to say that in the sense of like, I was speaking as far as like the level of trauma that there can be. And I'm not speaking it, for any specific reason, like to be like shocking or whatever. It's, one, like I said, I do this for a living. That's how I speak the issue. I don't hide behind facades and shit on the topic. these are uncomfortable topics. I get that's the problem. I get that's a problem. I get that makes people uncomfortable. I'm sorry if it does. But sometimes those conversations are necessary because you have to know the difference in that, for just on that topic, there are different types of sexual abuse and the level of trauma they cause, right? Also, cool Stephanie says, have you watched Psychguy's series of videos on this? No, but I have a playlist for them that I'm either going to go over on stream and do a series of streams on them because I think it would be cool. And if I don't, I'm at least going to listen to them on my own because, one, I'm really curious to hear his take on it because I've been looking for another professional like myself. Obviously, he's a psychiatrist. I'm not. I have a different level of degree. He's a higher level of degree than I am. So I'm curious to hear his takes on it. I'm curious to hear his insight on it. But so also, Shantala asked that I put a trigger warning up because of the sensitive subject and clinical descriptions. Um, Due to the nature of the show, I will go ahead and add that. I normally wouldn't, but I think, due to this being a very sensitive subject and we are, talking about, like I said, uncomfortable stuff, I'm happy to put that up there. Give me a moment while I pause and type up this morning. Okay, I think that's roughly good there. Me just trying to. There we go. Okay. All right, I think that works. Okay, so I'm gonna save that and we'll redo the ticker. Perfect. So there you go. Hopefully that helps address that issue. I am the real Ken Jennings. Say, I heard a Psych Guy seems pretty cool. I'm looking for and you know what? I'm glad Psych Guy gets his things across that way. That's his type of show. I have my own type of show. So you said that. Do you remember which document that is, Gabby? If you do, please let me know, and I will try to identify that. Also, Lissa, I have read the missing persons flyer, and I have done that on my last stream, and I will probably do it again on this stream. And I'm not judging on a tiny piece of information. I have gone through these documents before. It's been a while. I'm going through them again because they're important. The updates in this case are important. This is a difficult thing to talk about. That's fine. Also, I see that too. I will make note of that as well and see if I can ML. Okay. That is information that would be helpful. Thank you, Gabby, as well. I'm trying to write down the stuff as I can. Let's see. Heather and that crippled life said, "Do therapists not work on Mondays?" I don't. Right now, I don't. Our office is going through a move. I dual hat is both because of my background and experience from just hobbies and in the military. I have a bit of an IT background, so I've been doing IT work as well for our office in the preparation for our move. I've also shift most of my clients onto certain days of the week, and I pick which days I have off. So I don't have a completely full caseload right now because one, it's summer, and so some of my clients dropped off because of it being summer and they don't just want to be in therapy, or they've graduated from counseling, and two, I have the ability to set my own schedule. So I right now I'm doing Sundays and Mondays. My stream schedule will be changing to Fridays and Saturdays, I think starting next week. I have to confirm that yet. So, but I don't understand why there's so much hate on using the real words. And I'm getting back into the documents. I will do the Sophie missing persons thing again later. So, all right. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any other chat. I'm trying to multitask here. This isn't my forte. Normally, I do like one thing at a time, one client at a time, or a family at a time. I don't multitask well. I can, but I have to be like on my game. So, all right, where do we leave off at? All right, to the order be modified based on a mediated settlement agreement, the circumstances of the children or a person affected by the order of materially and substantially changed since the day of the signing of the mediated settlement agreement on which the order to be modified is based, and the support payments previously ordered should be modified based on the possession of the children by petitioner. The requested modification is in the best interest of the children. I love that language. It's so easy to put that in there, but it's half the time not always the case. Number 11, request for temporary orders. Petitioner requests the court, after notice and hearing, to make temporary orders for the safety and welfare of the children, including but not limited to the following: appointing petitioner as temporary sole managing conservator, or in the alternative, appointing petitioner and respondent temporary joint managing conservators, and designating petitioner as the conservator who has the exclusive right to designate the primary residence of the children, ordering respondent to provide support for the children, including the payment of child support and medical and dental support in the manner specified by the court while this case is pending. Ordering reasonable periods of electronic communication between the children and petitioner to supplement petitioner's periods of possession of the children. Awarding petitioner the exclusive right to enroll the children in school. Denying respondent access to the children, or alternatively, rendering a possession order providing that respondent's period of visitation be continuously supervised. Ordering respondent to execute all necessarily, oh my God, starting over. Ordering respondent to execute all necessary releases required by petitioner to obtain any discovery allowed by the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure. Ordering respondent to execute all necessary releases pursuant to the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, and 45 CFR Section 164 to permit petitioner to obtain healthcare information regarding the children. Let's see here. Ordering respondent to execute for all healthcare providers of the children an authorization for disclosure of protected health information to petitioner pursuant to pursuant to HIPAA. Some of this shit's boring. Ordering respondent to designate petitioner as a person to whom protected health information regarding the children may be disclosed whenever respondent executes an authorization for disclosure of protected health information. Basically, he wants copies of anything the mom would request for documents from HIPAA. Okay. This is limited to. Give me 1 second while I need to fix something. Hold on. Let's go. Holy shit, my inbox is blown up. I see you guys in the inbox. I don't have the I'm trying to get through this. I've paused quite a bit to kind of go through chat stuff with you guys. In the meantime, I am trying to do something. Trying to do something real quick on a pause. Give me 1 second. One more minute. Okay, I think this will work for what I'm trying to do. Okay, let's try this on for size and see if that works. Curious to see what happens. All right, so here's what I'm going to do as well, because I'm struggling to keep up with chat. I went ahead and I made something that I think will help with this issue. Oh shit! How do I fix that? Okay. How do I fucking copy that? Okay. There we go. So I'm gonna try this. I just need to make sure it doesn't do anything it's not supposed to. And then as long as it's good, we'll be good to go here. Because I know I'm trying to juggle multiple things here. And I want to see if it works properly. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you guys, let's do this. Let me give you guys a link to a Google Slides presentation question and answer thing. I am not able to consistently keep up with chat. If you have a question you would specifically like answered, I don't want to miss anything. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys a link to this. I'm going to pin it in the chat. You can go on there and you can leave questions. You can upvote questions as well, as far as what questions you would like answered. I will address those questions at the end of the stream or later in the stream. I don't want to miss anyone's concerns if they have any. I'm trying to juggle a lot of people in the stream that I haven't had to deal with this many questions and items at once. I'm trying to do the best I can to be, you know, engage with you guys all as much as possible. I get that there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people who have concerns. So feel free to check this out. If you want to use it, go for it. If you don't, no. Again, it's an option. You don't have to use it, like it. It's just there. I will be reading these though at the end because that's one of the ways I can actually keep track of the what's going on as far as specific questions people have towards me. And I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I'm not opening the panel yet. I'm getting through at least this document. As I asked earlier, my goal is to get through this issue and to, okay, here's the link if you want to go check it out. It's pinned in the top of the chat, or at least it should be. If you want to leave a chat, or not leave a chat, if you want to leave questions there, go for it. I have not. I'm also ending the previous poll because I got the answer I wanted from that. So I'm going to I'm going to answer you real quick, Heidi, but I'm not going to pull your thing up on screen for a specific reason. I don't know where you guys are getting this. I have never said that Michael was not wrong. I have said not only today, but yesterday that this is a situation where everybody has made mistakes and everybody has done shit wrong. I'm not happy with any of the adults involved in this, whether it be the court, mom, dad, anyone else. Everyone's done something wrong. Everyone's done something wrong to the detriment of Sophie and her siblings. You may disagree with me on that, but I am not supporting Michael as people are saying. Heidi, I understand it's old information. What's important is to understand from the beginning to the current state of what's going on. And I can only read things as much as I can get through them. I've only gotten through a couple pages because I've spent time specifically talking to you guys, which I don't have a problem with. But it's important to go through this and go through, because I'm not just going through dad stuff. I'm going through mom's responses and counter petitions. Those are just as important to the situation because I don't feel like they were fully ever, no one's fully gone through and in depth really kind of thought it through without picking sides. I'm not here to pick sides. And if you don't like how I'm doing it, you don't have to participate. So like I said, I'm going to continue reading. If there's any, anything you want to ask, let me know. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. 1 second. And as we continue, with regard to the request of temporary order from agent conservatorship, petitioner would show the court the following. These temporary orders are necessary because the child's present circumstances would significantly impair their children's physical health or emotional development, and the requested temporary order is in the best interest of the children. See the affidavit attached in Exhibit A by Courtney Chalmers, which I believe is Michael's wife or soon to be ex wife, something like that. 12. Request for temporary restraining order. So, Heidi, I think you have a bias at this point, and I'm sorry that you do. That's actually kind of sad. You have devolved into nothing but an internet meme at this point. And it's honestly sad. You have devolved into the go educate yourself. And as I mentioned this yesterday, I can go and Google shit about this case and get answers supporting mom or supporting dad. All it takes is a very minimal tweak of your language in the search, which is why I asked people yesterday if they feel I don't have the right information, please let me know where to find it and I will go look for it. Because I can't just Google it and assume I'm going to stumble across the right information. And as I mentioned yesterday, and as I mentioned earlier, Sophie's kidnapping was not okay. Whether or not dad feels justified in that is its own issue. There is a court order that was out there. Dad should have turned his child over. The last thing that helps Sophie is to take off with her. I have yet to disagree with that. I don't think I will. There would be very few things that would make me disagree with that statement. You were arguing against yourself, Heidi. That's the problem right now. You feel as you have put up this image of me that you think I am, and that's not the case. One, the goal of this is to help more people be aware of this case. Two, is to address the issue. And three, it's to go through it and actually, from my perspective, like as the counselor side, look at what's gone on and see the impacts that have happened from it. Just like when I watched the video, the impacts I thought came from it, and I thought the validity of the statements. Agree or disagree with that? You feel free to. At the end of the day, I side with Sophie. I don't side with mom or dad. So let's continue this document. So the request for temporary restraining order. Petitioner requests the court to dispense with the necessity of a bond, and petitioner requests that respondent be temporarily restrained immediately without hearing, and after notice and hearing be temporarily enjoined, pending further order from this court from disturbing the peace of the children and or of another party, withdrawing the children from enrollment in school or daycare facility where the children are presently enrolled, hiding or secreting children from the petitioner, making disparaging remarks regarding petitioner or petitioner's family in the presence of within hearing of the children. This is something I tell every parent I ever work with. to never do in front of your children, whether you're together, divorced, split up. Don't do it. It's disgusting. It's a fucked up thing to do to your children. Your children don't need to be party to your hate towards your partner. Let them figure it out as they get older. They'll thank you for it later. Discussing any litigation concerning the children in presence or within hearing of the children. Canceling, altering, failing to renew or pay premiums on, or in any manner affecting the level of coverage that existed at the time the suit was filed, of any health or dental insurance policy insuring the children. As the basis for the extraordinary relief requested below, petitioner would show that before filing of this petition, respondent has engaged in the conduct stated in the affidavit of Courtney Chalmers as attached Exhibit A. Based on that affidavit, petitioner requests the court grant the following relief. Issue an order excluding respondent from possession or access to the children, and that would be Sophie and her siblings that are blacked out. Number 13, request for attorney's fees, expenses, and costs and interest. It was necessary for petitioner to secure the services of Elizabeth Nielsen, a licensed attorney, to preserve and protect the children's rights. Respondents should be ordered to pay reasonable attorney's fees, expenses, and costs through trial and appeal, and a judgment should be rendered in favor of this attorney and against the respondent and be ordered paid directly to the petitioner's attorney, who may enforce the judgment in the attorney's own name. Petitioner requests post-judgment interest as allowed by law. Number 14, prayer. Petitioner prays the citation notice issued as required by law in the court enter in accordance with the allegation that contained the petition. The petitioner basically asks for the temporary restraining order, conforming with the allegations set forth. Basically, please do the things I asked you to. That's what the prayer usually breaks down to be. That's pretty much what that is. So, petitioner prays for general relief also. Respectfully submitted by this place. Name, attorney, and then we come down to, was it attachment A, or I think is what it's called. Affidavit of Courtney Chalmers. I think that's how you pronounce it. So, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more on this one. So, this one, that's weird. Sorry, I was getting a phone call from someone I don't know. If you have anything that you would like to provide me, please add it into the Google Presenter question and answer tool. If you have information that you would like to have brought up on stream, do it that way. I'm not able to keep up with chat. I can't do both. I'm trying to do it, but I'm doing my best. Either way, what's about to come up, and let me do the banner because it's important. All right, so I'm going to put this up. This part is going to contain information that involves the allegations of sexual abuse against a minor child. As a result of the allegations, you're going to hear language that involves kind of some of it's colorful, some of it's using anatomical terms, some of it's kind of detailed. At this point, I'm not here to argue the validity of the language of this affidavit. Again, I don't care necessarily about this affidavit. In the moment, I'm reading it to get through it, to understand other parts of this. This is separate than this bears no impact on my interpretation of Sophie in the video. This is different. It doesn't weigh in on that, just to clarify. But I am giving you fair warning, this is about to get very ugly. So, affidavit of Courtney Chalmers. Courtney personally appeared before me and stated under oath, quote, "My name is Courtney Chalmers. I am over age 18. I am competent to testify and therefore make this affidavit. This affidavit is based on my personal knowledge and the facts are true and correct. I am the stepmother of the children in the above named suit. The children are currently in the possession of my husband, Michael Long, who is the father of the children that are subject to this suit. We have had possession for the summer visitation since June 15, 2020. They are due to be returned to their mother today, July 27th, 2020 at 6 p.m. At this time, it is necessary to prevent the return of the children to protect their safety and welfare as outlined below. Sophie Long, age 9, is one of the children subject of this suit. When the children began their visit with us in June, Sophie behaved as though she was uncomfortable and told me that she needed to talk to me about girl stuff. And that's in quotes. She described feeling like she has, quote, needles in her VV, and that when she was at mommy's, it felt like a, quote, pole was up her VV. I know her to use the term VV to describe her vagina. She disclosed to me that she let her mother know about the discomfort and that her mother told her, quote, if we take you to the doctor, they will look at your VV. This was concerning to me, and after discussion with Michael, we determined I would take Sophie to the doctor. I took her to an urgent care center, and she was diagnosed with a urinary tract infection and prescribed antibiotics. At that time, they did not have a look at her vaginal area, but took a urine sample and indicated there was bacteria. Michael let the mother, Kelly Long, know and was questioned why she had not already taken Sophie to the doctor. Approximately 5 days later, Sophie was still very uncomfortable and having a hard time sitting. I took her to Little Spurs Urgent Care in New Braunfels, and they determined that she might have a yeast infection from the antibiotics and prescribed some cream. The weekend of July 10th, Sophie and her siblings returned to their mother, Kelly Long, for a 2-day visit. We sent the cream with her, and Kelly knew about the yeast infection diagnosis. When the visit was over, the children came home, and it was quickly apparent that Sophie was again very uncomfortable sitting and seemed to be in pain again. I took her back to Little Spurs where they prescribed a stronger cream. They also seemed concerned that Sophie described being told at her mother's to, quote, be tough and hold it or piss your pants, unquote, by her mother and her mother's boyfriend, Jacob Bellington. We have had concerns for several months about the domestic violence between Jacob and Kelly. There are numerous 911 calls and a CPS investigation that was initiated regarding the domestic violence. There have also been concerns about the people Kelly is allowing around the children and incidents the children describe happening at, quote, Nana's house, not Kelly's mother, and at Uncle Dan, who we have later determined is a man named Daniel Wayne Apperson. This past weekend, Sophie told me that her, quote, bug bites on her butt were bleeding, and she indicated they were not just on her butt, but were in fact, quote, between in her VV. I called Little Spurs, and they said the police needed to be called and that they did not do those types of exams. I was eventually able to find a hospital in Austin that could take us and examine Sophie. We went to Dell Hospital in Austin, and Sophie was examined. At that visit, the police were called, and a CPS referral was made. She was diagnosed with, quote, sexual assault by bodily force, and we were told we could not return her to Kelly. After getting home from the hospital, Sophie has become more descriptive to me about the abuse. The most alarming thing she has told me is that, quote, Uncle Dan, unquote, has a, quote, big penis that looks weird, and that, quote, he made me sit on it. These things are all happening in the home of Kelly Long or at her boyfriend's family's home. Additionally, Sophie has expressed repeated concerns of someone taking pictures of her VV, to which to our understanding law enforcement is also concerned about. We have been told to expect a forensic interview be requested, and we are eager to have that done to assist in finding out what has happened to Sophie. Perhaps scarier than anything else, Sophie has disclosed to me repeatedly sincerely that she is afraid they will kill her because she told. I do not want her to be placed in a situation where there will be retribution against her. I want her to be safe. Therefore, in order excluding Kelly Long from possession of or access to the children, the subject of this suit is necessary to protect the safety and welfare of the children. Signed by Courtney Chalmers, State of Texas, Notary Public. Then this is a standing order on handling, I guess, family case stuff. Basically, things to do and not do. Like I said, that's more legal stuff. That's just signed by all the circuit court judges or district court judges in that area. And then the e-filing page. So, obviously, that was a difficult read. Obviously, the legal part was its own thing. And then the affidavit by Courtney was a whole nother topic, right? Very detailed, very difficult to read through. I don't understand why you think I'm getting excited of it. I'm not excited over it. My chest is pounding like my heart's dropping out of my chest. Like, this is the shit that makes me suffer in my job. Like, this is the worst shit I hate. I don't enjoy doing this, trust me. The last thing I enjoy is doing this today. I don't want to have this discussion. I don't want to be reading this out loud. If you think I'm getting excited over this, I'm sorry. One, that concerns me that you feel that I'm that way. My voice is changing. And I'm doing this because, not because I enjoy it, but because it's necessary. Because this is a topic that requires discussion. It is, in its own essence, newsworthy, and it has an impact on more than just this family. The fallout from this will impact people for years to come. Whether people see that now or not, how this case gets dealt with, how people understand this case will matter. Squishy says, I've asked you numerous times to have a discussion. You would rather ready this, I'm assuming read. That's sick, dude. This right here, Squishy, is why I asked you, one, to wait till I got through some of this, because I think it was important in any discussion I was going to have with anyone to read it. Two, insulting me and calling me sick doesn't help your argument to getting on this show. There are other people I would rather bring on at this point who have treated me respectfully the entire time, who haven't pushed the issue, who offered, who didn't want to like bully their way on, who didn't spam the chat. Like, that is, so the fact that you feel that I'm doing this because this is something I'm enjoying, I'm not. And you think it's sick that I'm doing this rather than talk to you, it's not. Trust me, I'd rather have anyone on my show in some circumstances and talk about anything other than this. I picked this topic for discussion. And yes, these are claims made by the stepmother. The mom has made her own claims. Everyone has made their own claims. I am trying to demonstrate the court's failure. It's later in the documents. If I go back to the timeline, like I mentioned earlier, so let me stop sharing that for a moment, bring this back up. I think everyone's missing the purpose of this set of streams I'm doing. So if we come back to here, right, this is the start of the case. There are many pieces of this timeline missing. The order for motion to transfer to Collin County was on the 9th of July, 2020. There was the order the parenting plan basically pushed forward, and then some other documents. And then it was like, about 2 weeks when this was filed. There are way more things to go through. I have a list of documents to go through. I'm not just going, this is the document we're going through right now. I'm not just going to cover this document. I have way more documents to cover as well. But I am not narrowing in on any specific document. I am going through and reading the documents that are related and pertain to this issue. Right? I have other things to add to my timeline. I've been busy. I do work. I do other shit. But I'm not narrowing in on one specific issue. I'm sorry you see it that way. I'm wanting to go through, like I said, I wanted to go through this because it talked about these two things, the request for the restraining order and the temporary orders. This is what set off the masses. This is where shit started going downhill. Because suddenly we have and this is why I said earlier, I don't necessarily side with dad or mom. Because within 2 weeks of a transfer of venue, you have this petition. That can come off as suspect. I will agree. That doesn't mean you still don't need to validate whether the information is accurate or not. And you guys are sitting here assuming that I'm choosing one side or the other. I have said multiple times, I don't like Michael and a lot of things he's done. I don't like mom and a lot of things she's done. I'm working with the information I have. I'm working my way to get caught back up, and in the same time getting Rick caught back up and refreshed, bringing the people who come to my stream to watch the same as well. So I'm finished with that document, so we'll move on to the next one. That's the purpose of going through it on a timeline. I'm not narrowing in or focusing in on one document. That wasn't the only thing I read. I read the entire petition to modify the parent-child relationship. Yes, I breezed through like the stupid legalese stuff that wasn't relevant. But yes, I did read that. Yesterday, I read through the order on the motion to transfer, and I summarized the order in the suit affecting the parent-child relationship. Today, we started with the petition to modify the relationship again. And now we're moving on to the petition for writ. That's not me focusing in on one thing. If I wanted to focus in on just reading Courtney's affidavit, I would have done that already. I didn't do that. One, it's important to know what was being asked in that legal document, in that motion by Dad. Two, is it here? Two, it's important to know what the accusations are so that you know how to counter them if they are false. You can't just go, oh, everything he's saying is fake and not have evidence to back it up. That's an important thing to deal with too. You can't just say, well, everything in there's lies, but we can't talk about it. We can't ever talk about it. No, that's dumb. That's flat out dumb. Yes, it's awful to read. My heart dropped multiple times reading that. Every sentence I had to read in that affidavit, it got harder and harder to read as I got through it. I didn't want to read that. I have literal chest pain right now just from the thoughts of that shit. And again, I'm not saying it's true. Just the idea of it being true hurts because I've seen and heard worse. I have a friend, a best friend, who around Sophie's age now was gang raped by several people a few years older than her, tied to a bed and had that done to them. And the person she trusted to tell that to was me back in the day. Because I've been friends with this person for a long time. Came to me, told me about it because it was eating at her. So yeah, this shit can get personal for me. That doesn't mean I'm supporting the accusations of Courtney. I don't know. But it's important to know every piece of information here. I'm starting with the information that was filed. and I'm going forward with it. I am sorry if you do not like that. I am trying to find the next document here. Where is the where'd it go here? Damn it, I just had it. I think here we go. All right, so let me review. Holy shit, this is long. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything redaction wise. So give me like 2 minutes to skim through this as I make sure that I've got the redactions addressed. Because it has been a while. Because when I did redactions before, I was redacting certain things. This time around, I'm redacting other things. I'm trying to give more deference to privacy this time around. I don't have to. I don't have to redact any of this information. One, I'm redacting it because I chose to redact it in the first place. Two, I'm adding more redactions for protection of privacy. So please bear with as I deal with this. Let's see here. Okay. Damn it. Wrong button. That. Okay, apparently my OCR did a shit job on this one. Okay. There's that, and then there's a few pages to this, so I gotta make sure I don't miss anything, because, all right. Birthdays were a big issue yesterday, so I'm making sure birthdays are covered. And then, all right. So I think it looks like, let me verify this real quick. Okay, I think what this ends up being is the first part of the next document, which is the respondent's petition for writ of habeas corpus, is it goes over, okay, so it brings up it readdresses the uh, parent-child relationship, basically the parenting plan. And then I believe it then addresses, oh God, there's so much shit to redact on this. Just do that. I'm just redacting core stuff at this point. I don't care about the rest. Their law offices, I don't care about their addresses. It's obviously publicly available. And then, oops. So I don't understand why people are suddenly going out of nowhere and assuming that I'm just being a puppet for Michael or whatever. I'm not. Literally preparing the next document, verifying that it's redacted properly. And this is literally respondent, which is Kelly's petition for writ of habeas corpus. If I was speaking for Michael only, I wouldn't be reading this. I'm pretty sure that makes sense in very simple logic in my mind. So if I'm wrong on that, please correct me, but I don't see how that's incorrect. So if I was only wanting to speak Michael's shit, I wouldn't be bringing this up at all. So, okay. Holy shit, there's so much stuff on this. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Okay, there's a birth date I need to take care of real quick. And then a couple more. Like I said, guys, if you have specific questions, please see the pinned comment in chat. I will answer questions from the Q&A questionnaire thing near the end of the stream. I'm trying to get through these documents. I'm trying to, before I end the stream, balance a fair amount of both sides' documents. I would not like to just read one document and then dump off the stream. Like you guys have making the accusation that I'm being biased. That would appear biased if I just went with Michael's document and then just didn't read anything else. So I'm going to read at least one of Kelly's documents too. I think that's a fair assumption and a fair assessment. Okay. That again, this is just a couple more lawyers' emails. To save time, I'm just going to block off big blocks of these because we know at this point what these are. They're just who the lawyers are and stuff. That's just easier to do it that way. It's done, I think. My goal here is not to side with anybody. As I've mentioned, I'm not on either parent's side at this point. They haven't earned my support because as a parent, you need to earn a support in a situation like this, especially when it's been lost. Is if it's not fair, for example, me to pick one side or support both sides, right? If I say I support both mom and dad, I guarantee you that would be a problem. I bet people would not agree with me feeling that way. I would probably see comments of, you need to pick one side or the other. You can't have it both ways. Well, here's the thing is we're at a point now where there's been so much back and forth and there's so much shit going on, is the parents have to earn trust, in my eyes, and earn the ability to do that, because there's been so much shit that's been thrown back and forth, so much hatred, and it goes both ways. Michael's done it, Kelly's done it. I've read these documents before. I know what they look like. I know some of them I read better than others because some of them were pretty damn intense. So let me apply these redactions. So, okay. Let's scroll back up. Also, people are upset because that the information's potentially false or likely false in their eyes. So Gabby says, do you have a daughter? How would you like some strange man reading these things about her for any sicko to hear? Guess what, Gabby? There are websites literally dedicated to not only illegal things like child porn, there's also things dedicated to things called erotica, which is written erotic language. So think like 50 Shades of Grey type stuff, right? There are websites dedicated to legal underage pornography that is just written. So it's not pictures, it's just written text. And it's 100% legal. That shit's way worse than this. This is an interesting argument I constantly see is people bring up, well, what about your children? What if you had a daughter? What about your son? Or what about your daughter? The thing is one, trying to silence people doesn't help. If you truly want this to go away, don't keep attacking the people bringing it up. There's an inverse relationship on the amount of pressure you'd put on someone to stop saying something to the likelihood of them doing it. The more pressure you put, the less likely they're going to do it. You really want me to shut up? Don't attack me. Like, that would be the simple answer. And I'm not saying you are. I'm just in this general thing, right? But as a whole, it's helpful to go over this. It's helpful to read it. I'm not saying it's fun to read. Colonel Krantz, I think people have been prosecuted for writing and possessing that sort of stuff. In the United States, not so much. Give me 1 second. I have to take a phone call. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the delay. Stegus, you don't have to time out people for that. They're free to say that because, unlike them, I'm okay with them having the free speech to accuse me of that. I think it's a dumb take. I think it's a really bad take. But my next step is to pull up the petition for writ of habeas corpus by Kelly Long and to go through that. To go through her counter to these accusations and to counter the information that was put out there in the petition to modify. Right? That's literally the next goal. But apparently that's a lot to do. I don't know why. But apparently trying to get through that and just move through the documents themselves is too much. I don't get why. But apparently we can't do that. I don't understand why we cannot have a discussion about these issues. I understand being worked up and upset by these things. The thing is, yeah, she didn't have the consent to put her life out. She didn't choose that. That if you want to blame anybody, blame her mom and dad. That's whose fault it is, because these files were created by mom and dad. They created the documents, they created the record. I didn't do that. Any document filed with the court system is public. You are able to go to court and watch court proceedings if you choose to do so. A lot of court proceedings are now put on YouTube for live streaming if you want to watch. You have every right to look at them. There are very, very few cases where you don't get to watch a court proceeding. These documents were obtained prior to any sealing and therefore are obtained legally. I have the legal right to discuss them. I have a protected First Amendment right to discuss them. In the capacity of my YouTube channel, I'm acting as a journalist in a journalistic capacity to go through this topic. I can discuss a lot of things because I have no relation to any of the parties. I have no idea who anyone is involved in this. In a personal matter, never talked to them, never spoke with them, nothing. So I can go through this stuff. It's okay to go through this stuff. Trying to silence one side of this doesn't help your argument. If you really want people to pick your side at the end, you got to review things. You got to go through and say, well, okay, this is a way to disprove that argument. Because the right way to do it would be is to go through this. And if you really want to, at the end, you go back and go back to the initial petition. You can go, okay, well, these accusations here can be disproven by this, this, and that. We have these records to do that. But if you don't have the whole record to understand, then you're working from your, because, you know, for the people who have jumped in, you guys have followed this in more depth than I have, right? That's the thing I'm hearing, is you guys have followed this in more depth than I have. But it's not fair to the other people who haven't to only give them biased pieces of it, because whether you like it or not, you are biased on your side of the topic. Welcome to psychology. I am doing my best effort to help minimize my bias in this. As I've said, I've been as open as I can be. I don't think I can be any more open. I side with Sophie. The parents, I don't really care about in this point. Parents are doing their own shit at this point. You know, I was accused of having a document I didn't have by the attorney for Kelly Long before my stream even ended yesterday. Someone either gave her incorrect information or she heard incorrect information somehow while watching my show. And she sent me a cease and desist letter. That was the way my 5 o'clock started yesterday, though I didn't really notice it till this morning because of going through my emails yesterday. But guess what? Even she's sending me a cease and desist for something I don't have, right? She sends me a cease and desist for a document I don't have. That doesn't mean I don't like her or anything. She's an attorney acting in the best interest of her client. That's her job. I don't have a problem with the attorney. I get why the attorney would be doing that. Even though technically I could release the document if I wanted to. If I ever had it or if someone gave it to me, right? I could. How do you think journalists release classified information all the time? Same process. They have a protected right to do so. Now, obviously, I'm not doing that today. But either way, people will interpret something like a cease and desist as a threat. Because it technically is, in a way. It's like, hey, don't do this thing or I'm going to sue you. You're not legally binding. It's just a notice saying, hey, don't do this or I'll sue you. Okay. Cool. That's interesting. Doesn't mean they will. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. You know, maybe it's not them. Maybe they'll file something with the court trying to get the court to do something against me. I don't know. But either way, I don't necessarily have a hatred towards Kelly Long at this point because of that. I thought it was funny more than anything. And it was mostly funny because I was being ordered to cease and desist on something I didn't have. That's what the funny part was. So, like, I'm not biased against Mom for that. So that's where shit gets interesting. I can have this discussion without picking sides. I can have the discussion of the really horrible shit because I know how to do that. I specifically have focused on that type of practice because I know people don't like discussing it. No one likes talking about that, so guess what? I've learned through experience in my life, not only having been a victim of sexual abuse myself. Not only have I been molested as a child multiple times, I've also helped friends through it before I ever was a therapist. There's a lot of connection to it. I have the ability to deal with it because I've processed and dealt with my own trauma and I've been able to move past it. And I'm able to take the information I learned from that and help other people. So yeah, I can read this shit a lot easier maybe than most people. Or even reading it. My voice fluctuates. Okay, my voice fluctuates. I sound like, to some people apparently, I sound like I'm enjoying this. If that's what enjoyment sounds like to you, man, my God, I don't want to go to a party of yours. That is not a fun party. This is not enjoyment. The only reason my voice right now at this moment might have enjoyment is because I still think it's kind of funny from the cease and desist, from just mentioning that like last minute ago. But I'm not necessarily enjoying reading a horrible affidavit. I'm sorry you feel that way. Honestly, it speaks more to you as a person than it does to me. If you're going to automatically assume, because I read an affidavit about a situation that you feel strongly about, that you dislike or disagree with, and your immediate jump is straight to, oh, you're getting off to this, you're enjoying, that's a problem. That's a personal problem. That's an inside personal, you need to like really sit and reflect on yourself kind of problem. And I'm sorry if that's the case. You know, I'm happy to point you to resources for help and counseling in your area if you're dealing with shit. I have no problem doing that either. I have no problem if you have a problem. But you should usually get it addressed. But just ignoring it and hoping it goes away doesn't help. So let me continue here. I think I've got this pulled up. So I just, the next few okay, here's what I'm going to do. Let me finish redacting this next document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to finish this day's worth of documents. So, because all in the same day, 3 things happened. Dad files a petition to modify. Mom files a petition for a writ of habeas corpus. And then there is an order by the judge on the same day. All this happened in the same day on the motion that Dad filed. So I think it's important to go through all of these since they are the same day and they give context for the things that come up next. So let me just make sure I got all that stuff blanked out. Which I think I do. Okay. Oh, almost missed one thing. There we go. Okay, there we go. That's all blocked out now. Beautiful. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Next part is, son of a bitch. Okay. Save. And, okay. All right, there we go. That's saved now. I think so. Oh, come on. Here we go. The last thing I would think is someone would come listen to my stream for pleasure. Also, your attempt to bar people from any discussion by accusing them of being a sicko or by offering them up that they're the things are sick pleasure is not an argument, because there's infinite levels of access to sick pleasure for those kind of things. I can make the argument that your barring of the discussion of the topic is actually worse than my discussion of it. So while I might be mentioning things that, yeah, the information's a bit uncomfortable and it's a bit, oof, like, yeah, it's a lot, I can argue the side that you're choosing to not have the information out there and not willing to discuss it causes more damage and harm by allowing these kind of issues to sit and run under the table and allowing more people to get abused and molested and everything like that. Because you want these things to come to the sunlight. That's how you disinfect them. Trying to hide them under the table is not the way you deal with it. Also, the cease and desist had nothing to do with the documents I'm reading. The cease and desist was focused on a very specific set of documents. They were all involving the writ of mandamus filed by Michael Long recently. That cease and desist had nothing to do with anything I'm talking about right now. So, even if they request it, I don't necessarily have to abide by it if I'm not violating the law. So why do I feel like I need to talk about it? Oh, hi, Lisa. It's good to see you again. I tried giving you my email yesterday, but I think you left for church before I had a chance to actually post it again for you to see it in chat. But it's good to see you back. But as far as why I feel like I need to talk about it, one, because I've been interested in this case, and pretty much since the moment it hit the wire, because I too, like everyone else, was, oh my god, what the hell's going on? Like, oh, this poor child, and then I had to step back. It's very easy to run one way or the other with this out the gate, as a lot of people have done. At the end of the day, I stand for Sophie. I support Sophie. It's not my purview to get in between mom and dad. They have made their decisions. They have done what they've done. We are here now. Dad has made a very poor decision in taking off with his daughter. That's a bad decision. Rarely, if ever, can you really justify that decision. Michael has made a big mistake, and it's probably going to cost him at the end. And I don't know what led him there. Sucks that it happened that way, and it really does. And because at the end of the day, the person who suffers the most isn't Michael, isn't Kelly, it's Sophie, and it's Sophie's siblings. Period. But I don't necessarily feel the need to talk about it in the sense that, like, oh, I need to talk about it. There's this desire. I think that it's not necessarily this case, but it's this principle of watching people go through these kind of situations and the damage it does. Because I could sit here and probably predict for you what the next 3 to 5 years of therapy would be like for someone like Sophie. Because she's going to suffer greatly. And it's all supposed to be and it's mostly to all at the hands of people who supposedly love her. That's the sick part of it to me. Is the people who apparently love and care about her, those are the people who are causing the most damage right now. Whether you support Michael, whether you support Kelly, whether you support no one. This back and forth is a parent initiated thing. It didn't have to escalate this bad. There were ways to probably mitigate it. I don't know enough personal details to go through that. Either way, no one is innocent here as far as adults go. And that's not to like throw anyone under the bus, mom wise, dad wise, either way, right? It's still necessary to have these discussions. I'm not saying I like doing this. Trust me, I have fun streams on my channel. Ask any of my regulars. We've got fun streams. We'll go over something serious. One day we'll go over something real fun the next day. If we talk about serious shit, like legitimately after the first part of the 2-part show on going over on the Sophie video, after the first part, just listening to it fucked me up enough to where we spent like an hour watching Rescue 911 videos to help bring the mood up a bit, to see the good things that can happen and how people can go through really horrible shit in their lives. You can go through almost losing their life and how they can walk away from it and how they can grow from it. How a 2 or 3-year-old who's significantly burned from a house fire on Christmas can have a positive attitude and can smile. Like, that's how you grow and move on from shit like that. That's that trauma growth. And it's inspiring in a way. It's a good balance. So yeah, I talk about a variety of topics here. I have some experience with some things. I have less with others. I have, a variety of things I've done in my history. All of it I feel is relevant, and all of it I feel has not only helped me in my personal life. I've seen the benefits being a therapist, the different things I've had happen, and how they've changed the way I practice, how they've influenced the way I practice, and how people have grown from it too. How, you know, what's the phrasing for it? I have yet to have a client fire me because they don't like what I'm doing. Yeah, maybe people have left because of scheduling or conflicts, things like that. No one's left me as a client because they think I'm doing things wrong. I'm not a therapist who just sits there and listens and takes notes for an hour. I challenge, I push back, I bring up stuff. I've had sessions where people end up, I say I make people cry. It's a joke, but I've had sessions where people end up crying because of the shit we bring up. But some of those sessions were the most important sessions they've ever had. I've had sessions where I've got siblings screaming and yelling at each other, almost getting to fucking fist blows. But yet, they've been able to grow from it. I feel as though I have something to bring to the table for a lot of things. And I'm not normally one to feel that way about myself. Usually I'm actually pretty down talker about myself. Uh, I do have some self-esteem issues. I'm honest about that. But I see a case like Sophie's and I can't just walk away from it. Do I really want to have these discussions out like no? I really don't. If it was just a decision for me, I would probably say probably not. But it's not a decision where I'm just factoring in on me. The decision I'm factoring in on the potential, the potential for long-term impact, the good that this can do. Just like I've mentioned before, the discussions I've had on treating sex offenders, treating pedophiles. There are ways to treat people like that who have those disorders, who've had those histories, that will scientifically reduce the number of people who get molested every day, the number of people who get raped every day. But yet we will not approach it as a society because we feel uncomfortable about it. So who's to blame for the increased amount of rapes? It's the same type of blame you guys are putting on me. I'm to blame for more content out there for people to get off to because I'm talking about a legal case. That's a stretch. I can make the same argument that by not addressing sex offenses and stuff in a different way, everyone else in this country is basically facilitating more rapes and abuse. It's a very easy thing that you can just jump on and spin off and escalate real quickly on, and it serves no purpose. And that's my point, is that serves no purpose. Having these conversations serves a purpose. So let's see. So Critical Key says, if you don't believe this perfect's a therapist type 1, my master's degree would tell you otherwise. My license would tell you otherwise. All the clinical hours and supervision hours I had to do would tell you otherwise. But okay, you can have that belief. That's fine. The case is currently sealed. The documents I have were not under seal at the time of attainment. I have every right to discuss it. Oscar says, it sounds like you were bringing your own childhood trauma to the table, if I'm being transparent. Well, I'm transparent in the fact that I have no problem at this point in my life discussing my own childhood trauma because I've worked through it and I've been able to move past it, and it's no longer an issue for me. I probably couldn't have had this conversation a decade ago, but I've been able to since grow from that. It's been able to, it's not only helped me personally, it's also, like I said, it's helped me be better at my job. It's helped me be a better person. Why should I not allow that to help other people? So we are to just lock down all the trauma that we have and never share it. We're supposed to keep everything bottled up inside and never go out there in the open about it. People shouldn't be open about their instances where they've been raped or abused. That runs kind of counter to a very popular movement that's gone around in the last few years. You can take that information, you can take those experiences, and they can be points of growth for what is normally a very horrific thing to go through. Nina says, the therapist that is doing this, make it make sense. It's because I analyzed the Sophie video as a therapist and, giving my opinion as I would with my background as a therapist, how I felt about her accusations and her statements that she was making in that video, right? That was one of the reasons I started this. My goal of going through this was to read the rest of it, to read the accusations from whoever is involved, to read the counters to that from like mom, right? How she counters it, how she's, is able to say, hey, this didn't happen. And if mom's, and let me clarify if people don't get that. If the evidence isn't there, the evidence isn't there. That's fine. I'm happy to be proven wrong. That's fine. I have no problem being wrong. If you have a problem with being wrong on something, that's the problem. You should be able to be comfortable to a certain degree with being proven wrong on something, even if you're good at it, even if you're an expert at it. It's a hard skill to learn sometimes, but you should learn how to do it. There are ways to go through this shit and help people. I have yet to have a way to distill it down because we're still very early in the level of documents that there is. Yet I'm sitting here having people accuse me of being a sick pervert because I'm trying to talk about this. Because I'm trying to openly discuss a very pertinent public interest case. But yet, so let's see. So Terry David, it's possible to. So real quick before I do that. So Lisa, yesterday I know the birthdays showed up. I have corrected that today. I have gone through twice on the documents that I have been going over, and I have made sure to remove birthdays. I haven't read medical records. As of this point, I have not read a medical record. I have read an affidavit from Courtney, which obviously involves some specific things. I have yet to read any medical records. And I have already said before, there are going to be things I'm going to redact that I don't think need to be out there. When those things come up, I will redact them because those are things that are a little bit more in depth, I think, if I remember correctly, the way the record progresses. Obviously, the affidavit was very detailed, but it's only one part of it. But it's also a balancing act of, well, if I redact too much, then how do people know what's actually being said? Versus, because if, for example, dad's argument is this, but I redact some stuff because of privacy, but mom's argument's this, and I redact other things because of privacy. You miss key points that are actually in those things. The specific phrasing, the language, the way people quote things, the way people phrase sentences, all of that language matters. Just pulling big chunks of it out does hurt. So, redacting a name or redacting a birthday, that is not that big a deal. Versus redacting like huge chunks of things or just leaving out whole documents. Like, and also I'm fine with you coming on if you'd like at some point. But I have, you did ask that. You guys did ask that yesterday. I did follow up with that. I was fine with doing that. And I apologized yesterday for accidentally leaving the birthdays up. So, also, Terry, you are a bit wrong, though. It's not uncommon for therapists to talk about clients in an abstract. Like, for example, if I'm like at a convention, therapist convention or a continuing education thing, or talking in general. I have a 34-year-old female, this, and that. They struggle with depression. The situation happened. That's okay. That's not a violation of ethics or the law. That's actually somewhat normal. You'll normally hear that in a lot of contexts from professionals like that. You see it with doctors, you see it with nurses, you see it with therapists. It's pretty normal to hear. So, Amanda says, I'm going to get striked for talking about rape. Just saying, if I get striked because I mentioned that a child was potentially raped and that's a bad thing, that's a failing on YouTube, not on me. And if it's a strike that I get because of YouTube, that's their failing. If it's a strike because people decided to flag me, that's still not my failing. So, Terry, I'm sorry you feel like I'm not a therapist, but you're not the first person to accuse me of that. So, that's actually a funny joke that's actually funny on the inside. So, Amanda, here's part of the problem, right? Here, right now, is exactly why this is a problem. You were showing a level of bias in just your statement, right? You specifically say at Stegas. So then why isn't this conversation about Mikey and Alyssa and Courtney being a bunch of pieces of shit instead of talking about a little girl's medical records? One, I still have yet to discuss any medical records. It's an affidavit. Two, you're not coming at this in a neutral or even fair-minded manner. All you care about is talking shit about Mike and Alyssa and Courtney and whoever else that sides with them. That is where you are solely focused right now. That is the problem. I get this is a very passionate issue. I get Sophie's missing, and that's not okay. And I've said that how many goddamn times today? It's not okay Sophie's missing. It's not okay Michael took off with her. Michael did probably one of the worst things he could do to deal with this situation. Say, unless he pulls off some fucking miracle with his Court of Appeals thing or some sort of legalese, that's going to hurt forever. And the fallout from that is going to lay on the feet of Sophie, not anyone else. Because I guarantee you she internalizes that and she feels guilty for that for some reason. And she gets a little bit older, if she doesn't already now. That's how that works. Anyway, hold on one second. I clicked off of it by accident. Is I've said this multiple times, is my goal is to continue through the documents to have the other evidence come to light and to look at it in the context of whatever else is going on. All that is important to this discussion, but you can't just have it one way. You can't just say, oh, we can only talk good things about Kelly and bad things about Michael. Also the same for the other way. You can't just say, oh, we can only talk bad things about Kelly and good things about Michael. No, that's not fair to anybody. Honestly, it's not fair to Sophie, if you want to be honest. That's actually more hurtful to Sophie than anything, because you're not giving a fair chance for for the information to come to light and to be disproven. So Summer says, I'm 100% certain this man was put up to this by Michael to flaunt his education and then say Sophie was telling the truth. You guys are really getting into the idea of conspiracy theories here, man. I have never met Michael, talked to Michael, texted him, email, nothing. Smoke signals, telegraph, nada. The little flashing light signals they do to airplanes take off. I've never communicated with that man in my life, nor anyone tangentially related to him. At least I don't know anyone. Or if they do, like, I don't know. I live in an area that's not even close to where he's at. I may live in a different state. I may live halfway across the country. So give me 1 second here. Okay. Sorry about that. Had to deal with a small message. I'm not here to flaunt my education. I already tell people, and I've told people who've watched my show before, uh, I'm not like some 30-year expert in this field. I have no problem saying that. I ended up in this field because I had to deal with, getting out of the military, and I needed a job that I could deal with my disabilities, because I have a physical disability because of the military, and this was one that worked. And I realized I could, because I had thought about being a therapist earlier in life, and so I chose this career field. I'm always learning more. I'm always open to learning more. I'm always improving on my development. Say, give me 1 second. So apparently people have continuing to accuse me of things, and I'm trying to have a productive conversation here, but I have yet to see why you guys are struggling so much with this. So I don't understand how I'm harboring a fugitive when I have no idea who that fugitive is, as far as like a personal contact or anything like that. Like, like I said, I don't know any of the parties to this case. I've never met them. I've never communicated with them. Nothing like that. So I still don't understand why it's difficult to have these discussions, right? Why is it not doable for me to just continue going through these documents? I don't understand how that's an issue, guys. I don't. So, how am I about to lose my job, Gabby? I don't understand. What have I done necessarily to lose my job? Nothing I have done today is against the law. Nothing I have done violates any ethics. I care very much about the ethics of my profession. Twizzler, I have discussed the missing flyer already. So, so cool, Stephanie. Can someone please explain to me how I'm risking my license? No one has yet to explain to me how I'm risking my license. Also, how is the critical K trying to call me? Also, I've also talked about these things before that, hey, I talk about these things online with my coworkers. Like I've mentioned, hey, I have shows where I talk about, controversial topics or talk about things in the mental health field. Also, I never said that, Twizzler. You were putting words in my mouth. I'm saying that in the essence of it is either parent. It doesn't matter at this point. All that matters is Sophie. Everything else doesn't matter. They've made their own mistakes. They've made their failings. That's it. That's up to them. I can't, I'm not responsible for the things they've done. The fact that you guys are coming at me like this, that you guys are seriously threatening my job over a discussion. I have done nothing illegal. I've done nothing controversial in the sense that, oh, like I'm towing the legal. No, I am trying to have as neutral a discussion as I can right now. And you guys are going nuts on me. I was even considering bringing someone on here later to discuss more of this. I wanted to get through at least a document from Michael and a document from Kelly. And I was also hoping to get through the court order so that there was some context to the initiation of the case. That was it. I don't see how that is this massive crime. Also, Summer, I have, like I said, I have no communication with Michael at all. And I know this is from earlier, but just because the word can trigger doesn't mean I can't say it. So people keep saying that they've checked with the board, that I'm registered or not. Like, okay, if that makes you feel better. But you guys are not helping this at all. I was hoping, say, this is just, I don't even know how to process some of this. This is kind of just over the top. I can't have a simple discussion with people without it going nuts, without people losing their shit. I don't understand that. That does not make sense to me. Why are you guys opposed to any type of rational discussion? I don't get that part. I'm trying to have a nice discussion with you guys. I've yet to attack anybody. Nothing like that. Yet everyone's just coming at me, threatening my job, threatening to get me fired, threatening my license. Does this really help the issue? Like, you don't have to like me. I get it. But is it really worth taking someone's job? Like, even if there's people out there saying shit I don't like, that doesn't mean I go after them personally. Gabby says it's illegal and not talking about a 9-year-old's vagina is disgusting. All I said about that was before reading the document was there are different types of abuse and how those abuses work as far as the different kinds. And I used anatomical terms, and that was it. How is that disgusting? A doctor would do the same damn thing. So Well, I was talking before I read the affidavit. I said I had mentioned the different types of abuse and the ways that abuse could have occurred that would not necessarily be detected. That's fine. Then I mentioned I read the affidavit, which includes that term. That term, obviously not anatomical because it's from a 9-year-old. I never said I was a doctor of Black Lives Matter. That's different. You were now. I said I have a master's degree. I'm a counselor. It's different. Yeah, I'm trying to read the chats here, so give me a minute as I catch up. There's a lot of chats and it's a lot to read. Pardon me as I do try to catch up. And again, you can feel I'm a fake therapist if that's the case. I also said yesterday Michael made some really stupid decisions. Lisa says, Ken, it seems you want to help. Do you have any ideas how we could find her? Potentially. Also, Lisa, if you're still interested in coming on, I will extend an invite to you. I do trust you because you have been very calm and rational during these chats. I know we've disagreed. You have yet to do anything out of the ordinary. If you will, if you want to come on, you can come on the stream. It's up to you. Uh, Funky asked if I'll be discussing other potential custody cases or just this one. I don't know. It's going to depend. The Sophie one has stood out and it's been a big deal, so I followed it. But and people are continuing to accuse me of things I'm not doing. I'm not here to regurgitate Michael Long's narrative, quote unquote. I'm here to discuss this issue, which involves multiple. I'm here to discuss the documents, go through them, and kind of look at them from my perspective. I don't see how. I'm not just dropping the link because I want to know that I don't want just anyone jumping on here and just doing whatever in my voice chat on my stream. I've seen what happens when that happens. I can tell from chat yesterday that Lisa was very Respectful, and today Lisa was very respectful, and people were suggesting she come on. And also, Stigas is not Michael. I can guarantee you that. Basically 100% that Stigas is not Michael at all. Uh, I promise you that. So why would I talk about one of my clients by name, Izzy? That's stupid. I've never once talked about one of my clients by name because you're not supposed to. That's literally confidentiality. As I mentioned earlier, you can mention things like, uh, it's not uncommon where you'll hear like with doctors, psychologists, anything like that. 34-year-old patient with this, we treated them with this, that, or they were going through this type of situation. Like, that's not uncommon because it's vague and it's not attached to any particular person. None of my clients I've ever mentioned their name in any of those vague mentions I've ever talked about them. Ever. I understand the desire to find Sophie. I really do. There's a limit to what I can do. Also, Jeeper, I have worked with CPS and guardian ad litem. I was never working at CPS or anything like that as an agent or anything, but I've worked with them in different capacities. I have been a gal. And as Tika said, I covered a case with a different case with someone last year. I don't understand how I'm literally reading word for word a court document, and you guys are accusing me of something horrible, and that you'll be more gracious because I read something word for word. I don't understand how that's a problem. But that doesn't mean that I have to spend an entire stream just doing nothing but making it the missing poster for Sophie. That doesn't necessarily help. The missing poster has been shared way over social media, all over the place. I'll mention it. I'll post a link in my chat. I'll put it in my description. That doesn't mean I can't have a discussion about other things. I understand that I have to approve them once they come in StreamYard, but that doesn't mean that the persons coming on aren't going to just run into my chat or run onto my stream. And I've seen where people play really fucked up things. I've seen where people do really fucked up things. So And yes, I could boot them, but I don't want to risk my channel because I've seen people lose channels over stuff. Wrong is wrong, and a therapist with morals would know that. I'm just saying, how do I not have morals with what I'm doing though? Is my question. I can have this discussion and still have morals. So here's what I think needs to happen for today. This has devolved into nothing at this point. I'm not going to have a chat after everyone's been riled up. Period. People have come on here and done nothing but threaten my job, threaten my livelihood, threaten my family. I'm willing to have this conversation. What I want to do is I want to talk to the people behind the scenes first, right? Whoever has emailed me, I believe it's Squishy, Critical K. I think someone else has as well. Uh, I will reach out to them in an email and I will communicate with them. After I have that, I don't know how you're. So I don't. So Critical K, you want me on? Are you saying can't wait to see me in prison? Say, I don't understand what I would have done to do that. Say, Stigas has been around way longer than Michael has been online. The username is very familiar. I do want to say though, regardless of whatever other shit's going on in chat, Punky, I'm sorry that happened to you. That is awful. Uh, that's clearly very traumatic. I hope you've uh, been able to seek therapy to some degree. If not, maybe there's what's the way to put it? Punky shared he pulled the trigger and I was lucky. Then he pulled the gun himself. Wasn't lucky. Wow, wow, man. That's really awful. That's pretty. That's pretty tough. I don't know if you've had therapy yet for it, but I do recommend you would seek counseling for that. There are very qualified experts in the field of PTSD. For something like that, if it's extremely traumatic, EMDR therapy is a very, very highly recommended type of therapy for that. You can definitely, go about that type of counseling methodology to assist with that. I don't know, like I said, I don't know any of your history with treatment, but there are ways to help with that. So, but what I'm going to do today is because I actually have something to take care of, I forgot. No, I don't know any specifically off the top of my head. I'm sure there are some out there, but Let me pull that up real quick, Lisa. But as I said, there is something to address that has come up for me. I do need to take care of that because I forgot I had it on my schedule. So I'll share this poster. I will to the people who've reached out to me on my email, and I will talk to them, get forth of them, and I will see about setting up a specific stream, talking with them, because at this point there's just too much back and forth, and it's just too much to try and. So when you say your verbiage is way off, I don't know what you mean by that. Because I'm recommending EMDR for PTSD. I do want to talk to Lisa, but every time I've tried to have this discussion and push this discussion forward, this chat is. I have done nothing to rile anybody up. All I've literally done is read documents and discuss the documents. I have done everything I can to maintain a neutral perspective. I do trust Lisa, and Lisa, if you can reach out to my email, and I will happily set up a stream with her in the very near future, hopefully sometime later this week. I do have a client coming up to attend to that I need to address. But also, hold on one second. I need to go answer the phone real quick.